woman is submissive, all you think about, oh, you got barefoot and pray, cook in a dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm submissive to you. You know what I'm saying? Well, I think everybody has to, you know, like most of the world, you know, we talk about, you know, men take care of the outside, you know, cutting grass, taking care of the outside needs as well. And a woman, you know what I'm saying, takes care of the inside of the house, you know, cleaning, cooking, you know, certain things. I'm not saying that I want you to cook every day.
Yes, he is. Anyway, I don't want to let that take over the interview because you were
No, let's get to it. Let's get to it.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask Chris. Do you feel like the women that you had connections with, which we know we saw, Lee, we know that you're cool with Aries, and then who was the other connection?
I was connected to Lee, Aries, and Kat.
And Kat, right.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you got that type of, they were able to be bosses and you still got feminine energy from them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and it's like when they was talking about, when I said as far as equality, right? And Aries clarified another deal.
Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Belt 91. Listen, let me be very, very frank with you. This whole situation now has become carnage. Chris, Jessica, Maurier, this triple threat of stuff has become carnage. So much so that I'm even struggling to know where to start with this whole conversation, because I watched the interview with Chris and then it turned into a conversation with Maurier too. And then I think Tequila wanted to get on as well too at one point. And do you know what? My mind is kind of discombobulated. It was almost too much going on at once for me to really be able to decipher deeply what was happening. I'm going to try my best and try and give you as much as I remember from both the Chris and Jessica interviews, because I feel like, you know what, there's a lot of warfare going on. Yeah, a lot of warfare. I think what it is safe to say is this. Both Chris and Jessica are very sensitive people, but they show it in different ways, right? Jessica don't like rejection. Chris don't like rejection, but how he shows his emotions is that he is external with his emotional outbursts. Jessica is containing. So she contains her emotions. That don't make her any better, because she becomes cold and cruel. Or I should say even better, she becomes somebody who, someone who, moves more calculated in the sense, right? Protecting herself. They're two sides of a coin. Jessica and Chris are no different. What they found out was that they canceled each other. Both wanted control, and they both wanted control from each other. And what they found out is that neither of them could win against the other, right? So in the end, it was a mutual submission, which in some instances, Chris actually ended up losing more because of the end result that happened with him getting so angry and then flipping out at the table situation. So I think what I heard from both people, just a quick summary before we talk more, what I heard from both people on their interviews, number one, it's funny because Chris asked Crystal, hey, was she combative on your interview? Crystal didn't say yes, but she also didn't say no. What she said was she was a far more reserved and more calculated with her responses, which falls in line with what we saw on the show with Jessica, right? And I think we saw also with Chris too, the emotionality. In fact, this further proved my theory about what Chris is and what Jessica is, and I can give a conclusion as to why they had an argument in the end, because he couldn't explain why he felt the way he did at the table. And hopefully I'll be able to break it down for you guys and explain a bit more about it. I don't have timestamps, so I can't really give you guys the clips because we'll be looking at all over the place. We'll save that for later on tonight when we have a bit of a panel together to discuss what they saw on the show between the people on their interviews. But it's carnage. That's what I'm going to say to you. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. I'd probably say write some notes down because it is carnage to remember everything that was going on between the two of them. There's 4 hours worth of lives and there's a lot going on. Yeah. So if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe. Okay. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We do appreciate your support. You're helping us grow quickly as well. You know, we've been putting some great work in and you guys are responding and I appreciate it. Last night we had a great live as well. We talked about, if you can fall in love, if you're attracted or not. I'll put some clips up as well on there so you guys can watch it. But great show last night. But today, Listen, yes, it's 6:42 a.m. You get in the morning news, okay, baby? All right, you get in the morning news. Let's get into this particular video. I don't want to waste much time. Okay, I'm gonna try and play this particular clip. So I remember something that was said at the very beginning. So the way that this situation actually started between Chris and Maurier was interesting for me. And I just want to play a little bit of a clip so you guys get a little bit of a scene here. So let's play a little bit.
Things, the conversation, and I even went deeper. And I was talking about my roots, my heritage, and everything like that. Is how we are as far as men, and then how we respect each other. And I'm like, I'm always gonna respect you. So show me the same amount of respect as a man, you know. So and that all that exploded before I even found out what Tommy said. I didn't even care what Tommy said at that point. You know what I'm saying? So that happened prior till. It wasn't because he said that I exploded. That doesn't make sense. You know, and if she looked up, because I was walking away. Like I tried to leave 3 consecutive times. Once when I first got there, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna be nice, you know, I'm gonna get through this or whatever. But it was a setup. It really was, you know, with that. And I'm like, come on, man.
We're gonna bring Maurier in. Maurier.
What's
What's
going
up,
on?
Maurier?
What's up, lying ass boy?
Uh-oh.
Hey, I'm a man. Don't call me boy. Don't play like that.
You're a boy, bro.
Okay, hold, Maurier.
Now let's pause it right here, because this is quite interesting, right? Let's start it right here. Now the first thing I noticed was that the issue that Chris had with Maurier was not that he called him a liar. If you notice, his issue wasn't that he called him a liar. His issue was he called him a boy. It goes back to what I said about Chris and what I said about Jessica, right? That Chris's issue isn't necessarily about being called a liar. It's not that he's being called the fact that he got called a boy, because the issue is about manhood. And remember, I told you guys about even my own journey coming into masculinity and manhood, that oftentimes because you've grown up in a particular way, right? You've grown up in a particular way, you deem yourself a particular way, right? You're the nice guy. Girls maybe have trampled all over you. Girls have disrespected you. Maybe girls don't like you the same way. And you see how other guys get it, right? And so what the funny thing is that you start being over-exerting on your respect and what's disrespect. And so what happens is you couple that a little bit with, I'm a man and you're a woman, and I expect you to respect me as a man. Couple that with the fact that Maurier said it now, and we'll talk about that another point. But the point that Maurier came in and said it, and said that, you know, Lion asked boy, the only thing he picked up was boy as disrespect. So that was telling me everything I need to know straight away. When that was about an hour in. Straight away, the first thing I clocked, I said, no. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. There's an issue here with how you want your respect. There's an issue here with also coming into masculinity too, right? There's an aspect there too. This is what I was saying earlier on about the only way I can explain it is when you grow up in a way where you feel like you don't have respect amongst people, or you feel like you've always had to fight for respect, right? Especially when it comes to women. Women are the number one. Let me not say women are number one, because that's not true. But women be punking men sometimes, right? Women be punking men, and women punk men that they believe are not worthy of respect. See, when men do it, we might clown on each other. Yes, we might punk on each other, etc., etc. But when a woman does it, it's completely different. A completely different context. When a woman decides to clown you, or when a woman decides to not take you serious, or women disrespect you, that's a deeper problem, right? And when you feel like you're not getting that respect from the opposite gender, you really do harp hard on your masculinity. Now, I'm not saying that to say that he's a bad person, not at all. I'm saying that for me, if you call me a boy, I'm gonna take issue with the whole sentence. Lying boy. I'm gonna take offense to it all. Lying boy. I'm gonna take offense to all of it. If anything, I'll probably take more offense to lying, because it deems to speak to my character. If you call me a boy, I'm gonna be like, okay. But if you call me a liar, I take that more offensively, because my character is most important to me. Right? You can say boy all you want. All right, cool. But you call me a liar, I'm taking that really offensively, because of character is number one on my list. I deem that to be high on my list. So, again, he said it later on, him and Tequila are the most sensitive people on this cast. It goes back to what I said. Right? It goes back to what I said. Right? You know, I think also, yeah, that's true. It could be context. It could be context. It could be context about boy. It could be, but I'm taking into context the whole shenanigans of all what's happened on this show. It's not just this one point I'm making. When I make a deduction about him being fighting for his masculinity, I'm not talking about one point. If it's one point, then I would understand what you mean by the context. But it's not one point. I'm taking in several points of what's happened on the course of the show. The way he flipped out at Jessica, and he couldn't explain why he flipped out at Jessica. He actually couldn't explain. Like, I'm still waiting for the explanation of what is it that you felt about Jessica that you flipped out so much. Here's the key thing. I want to tell you this is the key thing. The reason why he flipped out, and he couldn't explain it, because can anybody explain why he flipped out at Jessica? Up until now, can anybody give me a reason as to why they, out of his mouth, what he said, watching that interview, why did he get so angry at Jessica? Nobody knows. Crystal was asking for clarification. Nobody knows. The reason why nobody knows is because what we're talking about is something deeper lining. It happened, but it didn't happen, right? What Jessica did, she did something, but not so obvious, if you want to call it, right? Because it's also based upon perception. Okay, it's also based upon perception, right? So first and foremost, I understand, right? He likes respect in a particular way, and because I grew up in an African household, I kind of know. I grew up in an African household, and Africans, we don't like talking back. We don't like any snarky remarks. We don't like smart mouths. We don't like eye rolling. We don't like tutting. We don't like kissing teeth. We don't like poor body language. We don't like shrugs. We don't like anything that can show that there is dissent in your behavior. Anything. Any form of dissent, body language, or your tone, the words you use, things like stupid, dumb, they are trigger words for Africans. Fool. People do not like those words in Africa. I'll be honest with you. So those small words can easily take the fight from 0 to 1,000. I'm very much aware of that. So when he says disrespect, he has to really explain the culture of it all. Because in the culture, especially from an African culture, even being nonchalant, her being nonchalant is disrespectful. If I'm having a conversation with you and it's disrespectful. For us, it's disrespectful. Right? For us as a culture, it's disrespectful. And also how women are with men. Women are, if we look at between women and men, women are not to do those things to men. That is a trigger for a lot of African men. I'll be honest with you. And for a long time, it was for me too. I can't lie to you because that's where I grew up. Right? And it doesn't mean you can't speak. It doesn't mean you can't talk. It doesn't mean that you can't do certain things. But there is a little bit of a misogynistic tone. And I don't want to say I want to say African culture, if we call it misogynistic, yeah, if we want to call it that. That the way that we look at women and to men is that as a man, respect me as a man, which is why I got what Chris was saying. As a man, there's a way that you can approach me. Don't ever approach me like a man. Don't ever. Because if I decide to deal with you as a man, you're in trouble. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And this comes not only with women, but it comes with kids. There's a certain level of behavior that as men, especially in the African culture, we do not like. And it's not just women, it's kids. Because what we're saying is, as a man, when you look at the chain, I'm at the top physically. So when you're coming to me, don't come to me anyhow. Don't come and speak reckless. Don't come roll your eyes. You wouldn't show respect. The moment that we're seeing any level of disrespect, and that involves, like I said, body language, tone, the choice of words, even your nonchalantness, heavy breathing. Oh my God. Heavy breathing. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Don't be heavy. What are you getting? Why are you breathing heavy for? What's wrong with you? Like, you can't show any form of dissent at all in the culture. And so when it comes to what Jessica was like, Jessica becoming nonchalant, and I told you about the warfare that Jessica's smart. She knows, right? She knows, right? I've told you about how people play this game where when someone's getting riled up, you know exactly what to do. All right, cool. So, is that all? And on Jessica's interview, what did she say? At Jessica's interview, I clocked it. I said, here's where he got angry. When she said, are you done? She told us that on the interview. She said, and are you done? And I said, when you say, are you done? Yeah, that's a flip. That's a flip. You know when someone's talking, say, are you done? All right, cool. Like the nonchalantness. Now, I'm not saying he's right. I'm saying I can see where the anger, I can see where the argument started from. I can see where he's getting riled up. Now he's admitted again, and we all agree there's no reason for him to turn to that way. I think it's just about really understanding that he has to work on. Right? Of course, I believe that a man is a leader. I believe that men should have respect, absolutely. But we don't do it by dominance, and we don't do it by we don't do it by dominance. We don't do it by force, right? We do it because we're respected, because of the integrity that we carry, being true to our word, and being a man, a stand-up man, right? We get that through our behaviors, and that elicits respect. You get what I'm saying to you, right? So as soon as she said, "Are you done?" Yeah, that's when I knew. Yeah. Yeah. And listen, El Cid, because of Chris's sensitivity, he's combative. Because of Chris's sensitivity, he is combative. He is the exact same person as Jessica. It just presents differently. See, let me be very frank with you. Chris, I like Chris, but listen, he was not hot, okay? This brother got hot in the midst of the conversation and backed off the top and ended up in his vest. Let's keep it a bucking, let's keep it real. He backed off the top.
But we're gonna get to that.
What I'm saying about
in the actual boycott that we had a whole boycott against production, whatever. And I think that kind of plays a role.
Now he may think he was just doing it because he's hot. He wasn't. He was doing it because he was in a fight. He's in fight mode. He's in fight mode. And let me tell you something. Some things that he was doing, he is equally combative as Jessica is. It just presents differently. Yes, unfortunately, I know you don't like saying Jessica's combative. She is. She just does it differently. And he pointed it out very correctly. She's very much somebody who does it subtly. So let's keep it real. Now, let's say the person in this moment, you can see he's getting riled up. He just doesn't show it that same way. He's getting riled up, so the top comes off. Now, if you're from the ends, you're from the hood, you know exactly what that means. When someone does, I'm taking my shirt off. What does that mean? I'm ready to go. It means I'm ready to fight. It means I'm ready to start. Now, he may say, hey, he was hot, and he was just, taking the toll. But no, he did the exact same thing Jessica did, which is basically what he was doing was he was actually subconsciously getting himself ready for a fight. And in fact, his words also told us he's ready for a fight. He told us several times that, hey, I'm having to have a conversation with Maurier, you know what I'm saying? And we're just talking it out. But if he wants to go there, we can go there. Do you know what that is? Whenever you're quick to say you want to go there, again, that goes back to my point about proving your masculinity. When you're fast to fight, you're trying to prove something. You understand? So I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying that him and Jessica are two sides of the same coin. Yeah, his looks worse because he shows outwardly the emotion, and it can be worse. But I'm not stupid enough to ignore what Jessica does. I'm not even saying she even triggered him or anything. I'm saying, that she's the cause of the issue. I'm saying that she has her own reasons. You know what I mean? She has her own reasons. And so, it was interesting that several times that he mentioned about it can go there if it needs to go there. And even at one point, Crystal said, we don't want that. We don't want that. Now, why would you mention it can go there if it needs to go there if all we're doing is having a debate and a conversation? The reason why Chris wanted to have him on the interview is because he's ready to be combative. If I'm doing an interview, I want to finish my interview. And by the way, I want to say this as well, and you guys can quote me again. By watching this, I see even more the issue that Kayla had with me when it came to the mic situation. I've already owned up to it at the time. I've already apologized for it. But I further again, I can see now that when I had Kayla on the show for the second interview and Mike wanted to come on, how that would have caused an issue and been a problem. So again, I've issued apologies to Kayla personally and publicly, but I wanted to say, I point it out again. I see even more now how this would have been an issue if I had Kayla and Mike on at the same time. It just doesn't. If it's an interview, I'm going to keep it as an interview. If it's a conversation, then that's fine. Everyone can jump in because people are ready for that. But it's an interview. So just something there to put in the atmosphere. I realize again the error of my mistakes. It's good to see something differently. Sometimes you have to see from yourself, see outwardly, and look into a situation. But in this situation, in this situation with Maurier and Chris, it turned into a beef, right? Now, interesting enough, just because Chris is smiling, just like when Jessica is not talking loudly, it is their way of hiding what is combative about them, the sensitivity of themselves, right? Chris has a smile. Jessica has quietness. They are both masking their true compatibility. They're both compatible. They're both compatible, but they hide it very well. He has a smile. He starts smiling. He starts, putting on this, this facade, everything like that. You know what I'm saying? So, we see it, but really, it's just masking the fact that you're ready for war. Chris don't play. Chris does not play, right? He don't play. So, it was clear to see in this interview, right? Now, there was another thing I was also brought up. There was a thing that was brought up around Jessica and her liking being turned on. I don't know if I can find a clip. I don't know if I'll be able to find the time of the clip. If I'll see if I can. Let me see.
That was the very first time I heard it on national television. So I'm like, why didn't you say that during a relationship? Maybe things would have been different. I don't know. So, and at that moment, instead of me saying something else, I just apologized because that's her real feelings. Whether she said on a reality show.
Let's see if I can find it for you guys.
That was, you saw that as a compliment.
Yes. Okay. Bingo. That's why I said, and I like that in the woman. I don't know if you remember that part, because that's just what I like. I like a strong woman. Strong doesn't necessarily have to mean combative or have to be a negative thing. You're just a strong black woman. I mean, we want to be.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't now met one strong black woman that isn't got some compatibility. I'm so sorry. There is no such thing. I personally don't think there's any such thing. It's always going to end in that situation. Like when we talk about someone being strong, it's going to always end as compatibility because that strength comes from stubbornness. That strength comes from you being able to withstand certain things. You're going to want to hold your own. You're going to want to be stubborn. You're going to want to go your own way. You're going to want to do things your own way too. That in itself is going to make you compatible. Going to make you compatible to somebody, right? Including him. So when people say they want strong, and when he says he wants strong, I hear it and I'm like, but you're gonna be always fighting against the grain. Your ex giving herself up and becoming somebody who was gonna make you the first and foremost thing, right? Is always going to end up. She's not gonna end up being strong. Do you see what I'm saying to you? You may see it as strong, but she ain't gonna end up as strong. When I think of strong black women, maybe that's why I'm thinking of a different way. When I think of strong black women, I think of automatically independence too. If somebody's gonna end up submitting all themselves to you and making you the head, not the head, but I said in essentially what the ex said, which is get lost in your world, that isn't the strength that I'm thinking of. Do you get what I'm saying to you? I do believe that that you can be submissive and strong. But when I say strong, I think you have to define the word strong in this particular instance, because I think I have a negative connotation when it comes to when we talk about strong black women. There's often a trope that's attached to strong black woman. I know he explained it a different way, but when I said about strong black women, I look at it and I go, yeah, when you start labeling it that, it usually doesn't end well because it's a negative trope that's attached to negative behaviors and negative aspects. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Right? So, I think I'm always careful about those tropes that people use because they can easily be wielded against a person. So yes, yes, Lisa's right. You are strong for giving birth, but when we use it in a context, we don't use it in that context. We don't use, oh, she's a strong black woman for having birth. When do we ever really call women strong for giving birth? We don't. And when I say that, from a man to a woman, when does he ever say, oh, she's a strong black woman because she gave birth? We don't ever say that. When we're talking about strength, we're often talking about her personality and her having to deal with way too much, oftentimes not to do things that are natural, to deal with things that are within the relationship that really should be going on. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Right? So I'm not saying that you can't be strong per se. What I'm saying is there's often a negative trope attached to when we talk about strong black woman. It comes with a trope. So that is completely different to saying, oh no, if I say to you, I put to you and say, you know, you're strong for going through that. You know, you're strong for going through that. No, you are, right? If I say that's an isolated incident, right? If I say it's an isolated incident, but unfortunately it comes with a trope. You know what I mean? It comes with a trope. You know, so that's why I'm saying that I'm always careful with certain words and the way it's being used, because I understand that it comes with a certain, oftentimes, a weight or a history behind it. And this is what can create problems. Now, the reality of the situation is he says he likes strong women, but look what he also added onto the person who he thought was strong. Jessica's strong, but she's also combative. That's why I said that the strong trope thing here don't be working. Now, of course, I think he did call Aries and Lee strong women too. I think he mentioned it on this interview, if I'm correct, right? I think he did mention the strong trope slightly as well. I don't know if it's just the case, but I'm more talking about the trope that comes with it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm more talking about the trope that comes with it. But yes, you're right. You can be strong necessarily without being combative. If we're just talking about, like, when we're talking about isolated incidents, but when we're using that as a trope, you know, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, no. But yeah, no. In all honesty, and I think he actually explained it. So let me even play the clip. You can explain it a bit better than I can.
Strong black man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Mo, you had something to say?
No, I was just I just didn't understand how somebody can confuse the strong when you put it in that context.
Well, I can understand, because as a woman, when a man says strong black woman, a lot of times that's seen nowadays as a negative. I don't think it should be. I think strong is positive. Combative and aggressive.
Black women is positive too.
Right. That's true. That's very true. Yeah. Very true. But I guess what I want both of you guys to explain, I'll start with Mo and then Chris, you know, from your perspective, what are the characteristics? Because I think women confuse the two. They think strong, all that is considered negative. What are you guys saying specifically when you say, this is not peaceful? Because the first thing women say, well, is he bringing peace? Why do we have to be peace? What qualities are you saying you don't like when it comes to a woman that you're considering being combative, being argumentative, being aggressive? What are those specific qualities? So that
with the businesswoman, I've dated lawyers, I've dated all, but the thing is, it's just bringing that energy at home. You know what I mean? Like, I get you have to be a defense attorney at work, but we don't need the energy in the house. You know what I mean? No. And that's what I get. You know, everybody's talking about masculine energy right now from women and so on and so forth. And that's what they mean. Loud, aggressive. It's not necessary. You know, like he made a good point. When you come home, when you're dealing with the world, and we're going to talk as, you know, as black men, and to come home, you don't want to have that same fight. You know, you don't want to have that tug of war unnecessarily. You know what I mean? And it's just being like, it's no need to step all over. Like, I've been in the situations where I've seen the degrees, and I think a lot of times in my life where I've seen, like, the women, they are impressed, or they try to impress you with the things that they're impressed by. If they like a guy that has accomplished this, has these degrees on the wall, CEO of this, president of this.
When someone is constantly negative, it's gonna be hard to coexist when someone else that always seek positive, right? You know, and so that's why if you pay, I didn't even realize it till I watched it, but I was smiling almost every time the camera's on me. I wasn't even paying attention, you know, because I'm a naturally happy guy, you know. And the thing is, though, it's too many things to be happy about, and that's what people don't understand, right? And in a cultural aspect, which if we need to get to this later, where I go a little deeper from it, y'all really ain't seen how bad it get. Y'all really haven't, you know, for Black Americans, like, you ain't seen it. So for me, as a person that witnessed it and seen it firsthand, when I come over here to America, I'm happy. Like, I'm overjoyed. You know, and that's the thing. And I think it was something else he alluded to, my finance or something like that. Like, I deserve this. I work hard for this. You know what I'm saying? So don't you, and I don't even talk about that. Because that's going to be a whole nother conversation, because there are a lot of men that control women due to their finances.
And that was brought up. That was brought up that because there was a whole scene where she kind of was going back and forth with Lee about the he can't buy me. So
I got. You want to talk about that?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about everything.
So check this out. so I ended up having to go to the friend date, Jessica friend date. Right. And at this time, I was already telling the producers, "Hey, put me on a date with Lee. Put me on a date with Aries. Put me on a date with Kat." They said you got to do a friend date. One of the producers said, "Hey, it's time to impress the girls this week or something. Bring a gift." And I said, "Is it Lee? Is it Aries? Is it Kat?" They was like, "No." One stood up and told me. I said, "I'm not bringing her no gift. I'm not doing it." And so, and this is what I think in life. You can have individuals, and I'm not just gonna talk about her. I'm gonna say individuals where you can spend $1 on and feel like you overspent, and then you can find an individual where you spend 10 to 20,000 and feel like that's not enough to show how much I care about this person. Wow. So it's about the person. It's not about the item. It's the meaning behind it, right? So even getting to that day when Maurier brought his candles, and Maurier had a deep meaning behind it. It was his grandmother. They dropped the candle on the floor and they chuckled about it and laughed. Then pick it up like, oh, he bought a gift or whatever. And then with Lee,
oh, hold on, I didn't hear this. Wait, hold on. What was that? I'm not even trying to do a review today. I'm really not trying to do a whole review right now.
Getting to that day when Maurier brought his candles, and Maurier had a deep meaning behind it. It was his grandmother. They dropped the candle on the floor and they chuckled about it and laughed. Then pick it up like, oh, he bought a gift or whatever. And then with Lee.
So wait, Maurier bought a candle, which had a deep meaning, obviously because of his grandma, and they dropped it on the floor, and they started laughing. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. That's Maurier. I mean, we'll get onto Maurier too. Okay, we'll get onto Maurier too, because in reality, Maurier, he was defending staunchly Jessica and Janelle, and that made me concerned. The way he staunchly defended them, I felt like there was more to a story that he didn't really want to release, and I'll reach out to him to see if he will do an interview. But yeah. You know what I mean? That was a yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I went on a date with Lee and her friend Muffin, which I knew from like probably 10 years ago, right? And so me knowing
increase it. Hold on.
Get people, or whatever. I mean, I didn't know.
Line, right? That is basically saying that maybe Janelle said something about you. What is there something that happened that you did not like, that you said, okay, I'm done with this girl, I don't want to deal with her at all?
A multitude of things, right? And it was consistent. This is what I always thought: if I can watch someone disrespect or treat somebody else bad, what's to stop you from treating me like that, right? The only reason why you're nice to me is because you find me attractive, But if you're treating the waitresses bad, the bartenders, the production, if you're doing all of that, nah, that's not gonna work for me. You know what I'm saying? Like the way you belittle people and you talk, like she felt like if she's telling me where you come from and your prestigious family and all those, so that's gonna impress me because of where I'm at. Nah, that don't mean nothing. Like it's about your character, and you can't treat somebody horrible and then think, oh, you gonna treat me better? Nah, because you talking about them when I'm not there. You talking about me.
That's true.
So with that consistency throughout the dates, every single date, it was something.
So let me just get this straight.
Go ahead.
So okay, I don't know if anyone can confirm this. Did Marvin say that on his interview? Did Marvin say that Jessica was treating people badly? I don't remember 100% if he did or not. Can someone confirm if Marvin, Marvin said that she did something like that. She was mean to people behind the scenes. I can't remember if he did say that. I don't know if anyone who watched the Marvin interview can confirm if he actually said that. But to say if she said that, I don't know. I think Marvin said something like she was mean to some people behind the scenes, but I'm not sure 100%. I don't know if anyone can confirm for me. If you're in the chat, if you're watching a replay, you can put a comment down below as well. But yeah, no. Okay, so he said obviously he watched her kind of be mean to people behind the scenes, or at least was being disrespectful with people behind the scenes. I know how that is, you know what I mean? I definitely understand how that is when you watch somebody. I'm not going to mess with somebody who's mean to people behind the scenes. I don't like that, you know what I mean? At the same time, I guess and that's what I said about the way you handle something, okay, so Marvin did say they were snippy to people. Okay. Because I think what I'm hearing is, that she had some behaviors that he didn't like that was being done to other people, and then he reacted before she could react to, so before she could do it, as soon as he saw it happen to him, he then like neutralized it. The problem is that he didn't keep his cool. And maybe because it spoke to a deeper core issue within himself, that's why when she did what she did, it really pissed me off. Because I know for myself, like, I don't like disrespect. You know what I'm saying? I really don't like disrespect, but I really don't like people calling me dumb, stupid. Like, I end conversations. I remember I had a conversation with one of my exes when she was saying I was stupid. I said to her, listen, that for me is like, you must have said, you told me to F off. How it happened, how we work in African culture, especially as Ghanaians, look, calling me stupid, dumb, or an idiot, let me tell you this now, it's a shutdown conversation. I'm not going to scream at you. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to disrespect you. Me personally, I shut it all the way down. Okay? All right? I shut it all the way down. So for me personally, when for us, that's a very big word. So like when I feel like someone, and I've had that in a relationship before, I just ended the conversation. I said, we're not talking. That's it. We're done. End the conversation. We can come back to this another time, but we ain't going to do this right now. Right. And it took a lot for me. It took me a lot to get to that place, because beforehand, I would have told you to go, and I would have told you, you can what? You can go and shut the F up. I would have said something mad. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's literally what it is. It's inflammatory in his culture, and any form of dissent that she was showing, he was then nuking. And I don't know if he's fully deeped it yet, how steeped he is in the culture and traditions to explain what's actually going on. That when she decides to be nonchalant or say, "Are we done?" or let you know that, listen, hey, I'm not listening to what you're saying right now, right? Being quote unquote disagreeable in a way that you don't particularly like, that is going to trigger you. You need to be aware of that. Yeah. He needs to be aware of that. He gets triggered that way because it is triggering. He has to be aware of that. Let me get some water.
Because when we talked to Jessica, she said that she has never treated anybody bad on the she said that she feels like no one could give her any examples, and people are taking Janelle's, because we've seen Janelle's behavior on camera.
Yeah,
Janelle has said some things to people on camera. Her and Tequila went back and forth. Mm-hmm. By the way, happy birthday to Tequila. I saw her in the
happy birthday, T. Love you, mama.
Happy birthday to her. I want to make sure you something at the end, but happy birthday, Tequila. But we saw Janelle mentioning Kira's purse. We saw her calling the other girls ugly. We saw her going back and telling Kira that she didn't like her. Like, we saw a lot of things.
Yeah,
it's not hearsay. So we didn't see that from Jessica.
So Chris, and Mo, I'm both of y'all. Remember when Tequila said you can get it too when she was talking to Jessica?
Yes.
Why would she just say that out of nowhere, out of thin air? It has to be something behind it. You see what I'm saying? Like, common sense for all the viewers, she also contribute to the harassment and bullying of Tequila and all the other girls. It's just that she's subtle. That's where I'm building up to where the dangerous side of a woman like that. Mm-hmm. Before you know it, you ducking before you know it, because it's masked. Like it's like the art of war. You know what I'm saying? So I can see these different tactics. Like, Tequila is not just gonna say you can get it too. And y'all know that Tequila does have that vulnerability side. Like, she might be the most emotional woman. I'm the most emotional man on the show. Yeah. Like, both we two peas in the pies when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what people have to understand, that there are other things that you're doing. You're constantly poking the bear. You're constantly doing this. When you pricking, you're pinching, you're doing all these things
that you saw her do, because
disrespecting the makeup artists, disrespecting the waitress staff. Even when we had to meet with the producers, the way they was talking to those producers, it was a very disrespectful manner. I feel you can. And Chris, I'm gonna ask you.
So those are examples. He says talking to the waitress, makeup artist, and the producers as well. He felt like the way she was talking to them was disrespectful. That's what he says are examples that he saw of her doing it to them.
Nice question. Okay. Mm-hmm. So your interview with her, I haven't seen the whole thing. Did it feel kind of combative? It's just, that's just like when they asked me that she had white power.
No, Crystal. How could Crystal pause like that? Man asked her a question and said, "Do you think she was compatible? Do you think she was compatible?" And then Crystal's like, Crystal's not saying anything. Crystal. You know what I mean? Look, the reality of the situation is, too funny, man. Crystal was there rocking back and forth for a second or two, like she don't know what she heard at that moment. Okay, but yeah, you know, so it's interesting, right? Because her answer is going to be quite telling.
You just you just
No, I what I'll say. I don't feel like it was combative. I feel like she didn't want to answer the questions.
Yeah.
But you can sense the energy. You don't actually have to do it, but you can feel the energy.
I don't want no negativity around me.
I feel, but I will say this. I feel like a lot of times, and I told her, I said, Jessica, you are beautiful, most beautiful when she was talking about her students. Because she was smiling and she was really like, her energy changed. So I feel like, I don't know. I know she's, you know, she lost a family member and I know she's gone through, I think sometimes people go through things and they take things differently. I have a book titled Dear Alpha Female, It's Not Him. And I will say for myself and a lot of women that I know, I don't know Jessica, but a lot of times fear of being hurt causes women to put up a very big defense. So I feel like it was more defensiveness. But I don't feel like I don't feel like it was I'm not gonna look at it. This is not biased. You guys, I talked to Jessica for 2 hours. I'm not saying that she was combative. What I'm saying is I asked questions and she didn't give me the answers back. Right. I don't know if she was protecting what, but
she got some good PR though. A PR person go hard. I'll tell you that.
Well, she has a lot of great qualities, right?
Yeah, she does.
She has a lot of great qualities, but
and I think okay, so I think I understand. So what I think Chris is kind of seeing, right? And I think this is why I said he got drawn out, right? The problem with what Chris has done is that he's got drawn out, right? When someone is much more meticulous in the way they fight battles, you can't be overt in the way you go about your fighting battles because you're trying to prove something that we can't necessarily see very well. Now, of course, I believe that she is combative, right? I think we saw that with the last episode, and whether you agree with it or not, that's up to you. But my personal perspective is that we saw the combativeness on the last episode. That it doesn't come out in the same way that, for instance, how Chris has come out, where Chris is even more combative than Jessica's ever shown on the show, right? Or come out like Janelle does, because these people are very much overt in their resistance and in their fighting. But there are different ways to fight. That not everybody's a front liner. You understand what I'm saying to you? Some people are snipers. They don't fight with you in face to face. They're very much aware. And I think what I see with Jessica is that she is somebody who is very much can read the room, can understand her position, and knows where she stands. And therefore, when she fights with intelligence. She can't fight and be up in your face fighting fires because that's not her natural MO. Janelle was that person. Janelle was the person that's going to fight you face to face, be very direct, up in your face, and let you know it is what it is. But the issue with Janelle is that Janelle doesn't do that. Now, Chris is the other side of the coin because he is no different to Jessica. Whilst he is accusing Jessica of being combative, I believe Chris is also combative. You know how I know? The conversation that they had about gender roles, it was so quick how he was to say about gender roles. Like he wanted to counteract what she said. He was quick to it. Very quick to it. In this interview, he showed me combativeness in the way that how quickly he warred with Maurier. So they are two peas in a pod. They are two peas in a pod. Chris is as combative as Jessica is. The problem that we have here is this. Chris saw Jessica, yeah, and saw she was combative, let's say, right? But when he saw her, she's one of those people that you have to spend time with that person, observe them, and you have to be very smart about the language you use, and you have to almost kind of, it's very hard to describe. Like when someone's a very good manipulator, they don't play in everybody's face, right? They choose their moments to play in your face. So then when you say, oh, this person's such and such, they're like, what? That person is like such and such. No, it can't be. No, it can't be. It can't be that. No. No, that can't be it, right? And so it's interesting because I think he sees the low key, quote unquote, want to call it manipulation or combativeness or whatever. She's ready for a fight or whatever, but she's so low key with it. The problem is you got drawn out, right? The problem is you got drawn out. You know what I'm saying to you? So now you look like the person that's a problem, and you ended up being the problem because you were so, because when you try to catch the porcupine, you got pricked. Right? You tried to touch the porcupine and the porcupine pricked you. You have to handle the porcupine differently to how you handle other animals. You understand what I'm saying to you? So when someone's a bit more low key with their madness, you don't just go in. You know? So and again, it doesn't mean that she's a bad person. Doesn't mean Chris is a bad person. These are things that they have to work on, both her and Chris. But they canceled each other out because both of them are like that. Both of them are combative, right? Both him and Jessica are concerned with their names. They're concerned with their image. They're concerned with how they look. So they are the same person. They just respond in different ways. That's why they canceled each other out. You know? That's why they cancel each other out.
But I'm not gonna go back and forth with y'all about that.
No, but here's the thing, Crystal. If a man was to do that, you would say, well, maybe you don't need to date right now. You would need to heal. You see what I'm saying? If the shit was on the other foot, you'd be like, you need to heal. Who hurt you? You don't need to be dating right now.
Yes. It's a little.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm just explaining. I'm not excusing.
I think both Chris and Jessica need to sit on the bench. If I'm honest with you, I think both Chris and Jessica need to sit on the bench because his emotional reactivity is a problem. Right? His emotional reactivity is a problem. You know what I'm saying to you? So him being that emotionally reactive, you also need to work on that because that creates so much problems within a relationship. Right? So both Chris and Jessica are two peas in a pod. And if we're going to say Jessica needs to sit on the bench, I believe Chris needs to sit on the bench too. I think they both need to sit on them. If I'm honest with you, both of them need to sit on the bench and both of them need to heal. Because neither of them would be beneficial in a relationship. Because he gets riled up real quick as soon as you step in, as soon as you do anything that he deems as disrespect. Pow. You know? With Jessica too, she gonna undermine you a little bit, maybe, you know, be a bit combative, whatever, maybe be a bit snarky with her comments. And we saw the snarkiness because she tried it with Lee, even though she tried to say that wasn't it, but she tried it.
I'm just explaining.
No, I got you.
And I feel like this is an opportunity for us to explain, but I feel like she was being as authentic as she has the ability to be. I also feel like at different points in our life, we learn different things, right? So I think that she probably will come to a different understanding at another space. So, or maybe not, I don't know. But I'm not picking on anybody on the.
That's what it is. When someone is proficient in communication, like business, negotiation, I can do that in my sleep, right? You know, other stuff, I'm like, oh, let me call somebody, you know, let me lean on somebody. You know, it's like even with my connections, there were times I'll call them for their opinion on stuff, right? Because I value it. So I got to seek understanding. I can't just rely on me. Right. You know, I'm going to pray about it, but then I'm going to ask somebody else, what do you think about this? And I think that's what a lot of people are lacking is that accountability. Yeah. You know, and I feel sorry for a Jessica or Janelle because the people around them aren't holding them accountable. Yeah. They're just not. You know, it's proven time and time again. Those women are phenomenal women. They can do so much in this world because of how they move. Like, let's use our powers for good and not evil. You know, that, I mean, it is what it is. You have the power to create something, destroy something. Let's create healthier relationships amongst ourselves versus all this other. Happened there. Hey, everybody that's on the chat, please pay attention to the words coming out of my mouth. All right. So Maurier, he was the one that knew that was a triggering word for her. Okay. So, and if let's say 4 individuals are saying the same exact word, right? But you only show one person saying it the 4 times. Now that a word is attached to that one person. Yes. If you look in further notice, Q even said it was a collective decision, right? Maurier like, man, I knew I messed up. That's why he was so sad around that room. I mean, one, he heard her, you know what I'm saying? And then he was the one to deliver it. He chose to say that word. So now, let's go to me with the association of that word. The very first time I verbally said, you are combative, was at that table when I was getting eliminated.
Yeah.
The second time I verbally said she is combative was when I did what's called a pickup right before the reunion when I had on a blue suit, and they played it in real time, like I was saying it in real time. Okay. Before that, I said we've had combative situations. She showed traits of being combative, maybe like a combative moment. I didn't just say that was her. And we're getting confused in like the word, like it's not a bad word. You know, that was the word that I felt the best word to describe what it was, and that was the closest. That was true. And everybody in DFW felt she was combative. Everybody, all the people in the cast felt she was combative. It's just that it was attached to me because I caused her pain by rejecting her. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing too. Even once I had the phone conversation before her meeting my ex, I said, hey, we still can be cool. I was still nice. I was still like, hey, how's your day going? Trying to maintain a friendship, but I didn't know how big of a sting, you know, that was to her ego. You know, because no one likes rejection, you know, at all. But
especially on a show like this, because it brings out, thank you, Janika, it brings out the competitiveness. Yes. So it's more than just getting rejected, like you don't like me, but it's also I want to win, right? And so that's the thing. So let me just be clear, Chris. I'm not trying to be redundant. I just want to be clear.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
So when you guys talked about it in the men's lounge, everybody agreed it was a collective decision, because this was a way to say, when we saw the girls talking, Janelle said, we've heard that before. And it made it sound like it was just you that said that, and you are the reason that she was put into the bottom two.
So yes, it was a collective decision. Now let me.
And this is the part I do agree, right? There was a collective decision making, and that's the part I didn't get, and how I'll probably play it where Maurier came on and tried to deny it. I'm like, you made it as if Chris was the only one that said something about her, but you chose the word combative. You didn't have to say it. You had a Freudian slip. Yeah. You know, I don't believe that. I don't know if I believe that. In reality is, I do believe that a lot of more people thought she was combative. I do. I think the guys thought she was, right? I think the guys definitely thought she was. But like I said, with Phil and Quentin, they pussied out because they didn't want to have a combative situation there then, but they pussied out because very much like show. If you watch the last episode, I picked up on it. Quentin, it's in the bedroom. In the bedroom when they were discussing, he's wearing like a light blue top, whatever, in the bedroom with the boys. He says it was a collective decision we came to and said what we said. Now, Maurier explains it saying, well, we say all men because we want to make sure that obviously nobody gets outed. My issue is this. Well, Chris isn't the only one that caused someone to go home. So you all must have agreed to some degree because it's Jessica that you said those things about. Jessica is only one. Chris is only one person. There are three of you, which means who else was at the bottom then? You know what I mean? So in reality, there was more people that were feeling a way about her and her behavior. And that's the honest truth. Now, Chris should have spoken up irrespective of what he says about however he said it, combative situation, combative daga daga makes no difference. In that moment when she asked you, you should have said something. Or you should have said, listen, we can talk about this later on. You know? You know what I mean? So for me personally, I'm like, yo, you should have said something. And you could have pulled her aside and said, okay, do you know what? Let me take you aside and have a conversation and say what I said. Because it's already out. What are you going to do now? I remember one time, I'll give you an example. I remember one time, yeah. It's so funny. I was in school and I think it was like, what was that? 16? Yeah, 16 school. And we basically were in an IT lesson. It was in a computer science, we're going to call it, lesson, right? And in that lesson, two guys decided to smash up laptops. They decided to put laptops on the chairs and smash the laptops up. The school then says, which one of us did the smashing of laptops in the class? Nobody says anything at first. We then have a meeting with the teacher and say, listen, look, we kind of know the two who probably did it, y'all have a meeting and discuss what you want to do. Because if none of you talk about it, y'all gonna be missing out on a grade in that class. We are not gonna teach you. And in my head, I'm like, hold on a minute. So these two goons are gonna make me miss out on my education because they don't care about their education. No, I'm good. I'm good. They said to us, listen, look, you can tell us who did it. We'll put you on a list. They won't know you ever said anything. I told the guy, are you sure? Because I don't feel like this list is going to stay secret. Because I know it can never stay secret. There's no such thing as you being covered. Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. They're going to eventually find out. So I was like, well, it is what it is. I want my education. I don't care if they find out or not. It's bound to happen anyway. I need to be ready for the confrontation. Cool. A few weeks later, it does come out. Exactly as I told them it would happen. Because when you take it to a higher level, they start revealing the sources. So they reveal the sources. I was on one of the names. The guys came up to me, said, did you say it? Did you? At this point, I didn't know. They said to me, did you snitch? The guy looks me in the eye. There's a couple of guys around me. They're looking like they're ready to beat me up. Can't lie to you, right? They said to me, did you say it? I look at him and I think to myself, I could lie, but why lie? The truth of the matter is, I know I said it. I said, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Because I said my education is more important than you two. Bruh. The funny thing was, the guy said to me, listen, he said, I would have beaten you up if you lied. But the fact that you actually stood truthful, I respect it. Now, I mean, they did try to beat me up later on. So they did try to beat me up later on. You know what I mean? They did try to beat me up later on. But that instance taught me something. Integrity is important. Now, listen, maybe not in every situation where you tell the truth, you're not going to get beaten up. Hey, you might do. But the reality of the situation was the truth was the most important thing here, right? And the same thing here. When you get an opportunity, there was no need to lie because you said something that was very similar to the words. You can semantify it all you want, but you did call it combative. Whether you want to call it a combative situation or daga, you could have even corrected her in that moment and said, you know what? I don't want to be in I said combative situation, not combative, right? But you didn't even do that. You didn't even do that. So for me, you chickened out. Right? You chickened out. In that moment, you chickened out. You get what I'm saying to you? So it should have easily just been a quick clear up. Said to her, listen, look, I hear what you guys are saying. I did say it. I said combative situation. And the moment they started going yaga, the first thing you could have done was, well, listen, I appreciate it. I'm disengaging from this conversation. It's no longer beneficial for me. And I don't feel like we're having productive conversation. I'm about out. Do you see what I'm saying to you? That's how we do conflict resolutions. And that's how you also disengage. I don't think Chris has those skills just yet because the reality was all he was thinking was, you know, the reality was in a situation that, you know, with reality of the situation was that when you're fearing the confrontation, you're fearing, you know, when you're fearing someone, you're fearing someone's reaction, it puts you in a place where you start making decisions that don't need to be made. Do you get what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? It puts you in positions that don't work for you, you know? So in that moment, all it needed to be was, hey, look, I said it. I said, I want to be honest with you. I said combative situations, not that you're combative, you know? And then it could have been a conversation. And if they decided that they're going to now double up on you and gang up on you, you could have said, hey, look, I appreciate it, but I'm not in the space to have that conversation right now. And you're kind of ganging up on me. See, when you know how to handle people, right? And you know how to handle situations, you start to learn how to get out of these things. It's just conflict resolutions. And it's learning how to also be assertive without being dominant. And this is a key thing too. A lot of us, especially coming from Black households, have learned dominance, not assertiveness. So when you're dealing with people, you don't know how to deal with them because you're only dealing with them is dominance. And when you don't know how to assert yourself in a correct manner, you can't handle situations appropriately. The assertive thing to do is to say, hey, you know what? I did say combative situations. I didn't say that you're combative. I said we had a combative situation, and we said that about combat. That's what I said, exactly what I said in the men's lounge, right? Then you give them room. They're gonna say what they're gonna say. And if they start piping up in a particular way, you let them know, hey, look, I want to have a conversation. But right now, I'm feeling a little bit like I'm being attacked by two people at the same time, and I'm really not going to be listening to what you're going to say. So if we want to have a productive conversation, here's how I think it can go, right? You talk, I'm going to listen. When I talk, you listen. And we go from there, right? And that's how we do it. Then you control the whole environment. And if they decide they're going to not play ball, well, if that's not the case, you want to play by those rules, that's okay, it's fine. No worries at all. I don't want to be involved in the conversation. Thank you. I choose not to participate. Do you see what I'm saying to you? That's an assertive way how to handle situations. Because if every time it's going to be, well, we can go there if you want to go there, then you're missing the combativeness. You're moving in dominance rather than assertiveness. And dominance always creates fear because people are always willing to go into a fight mode. I don't want to fight. But I do want to let you know, listen, hey, please. The way I want to talk about situation is like this. You know? That's what you do.
And Mo can attest to this most likely. If you know someone's out in a witch hunt, right, and you're right there, and they're like, okay, I think Janelle said, I'm gonna handle who said it. Even on elimination, like they got an uproar in that part. So as a man that doesn't like confrontation with a woman, why would all of us go in there and go like, what you want to do? You guys want to double team me on national television? You see what I'm saying? And so, and if someone used some incorrect word like, okay, Chris might be afraid or something, who in that house is gonna do something to me, man or woman? Production, the birds, no one, you know. So it's not fear.
Well, it slightly is fear, because if you're trying to avoid the confrontation because you're afraid that two people are going to jump on you, and you're afraid of what would be the image of you arguing with two women, but you in the end fought one woman. Deep what you're saying. See, if you're operating from a space of confidence in how to handle such situations, I don't feel like the end scenario would have happened. I don't feel the end where you got into, when you got angry the way you did with Jessica at the end would have happened, because you'd have learned how to be assertive, not dominant. See, that the dominance goes into physicality. I'm going to use my physicality to make you follow this conversation with my lead. I don't want to do that. A lot of us grew up in those kind of households where we grew up in houses where fathers or even mothers use physical threat rather than actually being assertive in the communication. And of course, I understand coming from African households, you know, I totally get it as well. But the reality is, once you start to learn how do I handle a situation without it escalating into a fight? That's why I told you, I've been to the club how many times? I've never been in a fight. That's why I told you about the example when I said, if that girl with a brick situation, I'd have found a way to try and de-escalate the situation, because I need to learn how to assert without being dominant. When you start dominating, you're starting to use your physical presence. And at that point, anybody can fight. You don't know what anyone's carrying. You don't know what anyone's going to do. But if I'm handling this situation, you're saying you are, in a sense, you are kind of saying you are afraid, because you're afraid of the conflict and how it may look. But the reality is, if you are confident in your conflict skills and your assertions in the way that you deliver a message, then you realize you don't have to fear in that moment. It's very much like when I'm doing an interview. I don't mind when people start saying the person's taking over the interview. I'm like, you think they're taking over the interview? I don't mind about that, because you're showing me what I need to know already. You think you're in control by you taking over. You're not doing anything. Don't worry. Let them go. Don't stress. Don't stress yourself. You know, people be like, they're taking over the interview. They're doing it. No. They're showing you who they are. You just need to shh and pay attention. The assertion doesn't always have to be loud. The assertion doesn't have to be loud. It's confident in what it can produce and what it can do. So when I'm now dealing with a situation, I'm not trying to kick and scream to get you to understand. And you guys have seen me, and you have seen when I haven't done it very well, right? You've watched me. If you followed me long enough on this channel, if you subscribe, there's 365 people in this room. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Don't be sitting here not subscribing, okay? We want to see you part of the family. Please go ahead and click that bell button and you know, subscribe to the channel. You guys have seen my own ways of handling stuff that sometimes I don't even get it right. And then you see the emotions riling up. And then you see that the confrontation begins to happen. And when the confrontation happens and you're going back and forth, you even start to lose your points because you're just vexed. So in that moment, you're afraid of confrontation. No, what you need to do and be ready to do is to assert yourself and say, actually, yes, I did say that. Now, I didn't say you are combative. I did say that, you know what, we have combative situations. You know what I mean? Do you want to talk about it? If we do, let's lay some ground rules before we start talking, because I'm very much aware of what's happened previously. I've felt like I've been ganged up on. And this is key too. Using I felt means I don't accuse you of this situation. You know? Doing that is also make sure that it doesn't show that you're accusing the person of anything. So I felt like the previous times that we've had conversations, I felt this, that, you know, it hasn't been productive. So here's how we're going to make it productive. You talk, I talk. People can mediate, whatever. Janelle, maybe, you know what, Janelle, I appreciate you. Maybe you want to be part of this conversation. I believe it's a conversation between me and Jessica. If you can respect that, fantastic. If you can't respect that, I don't want to have a conversation. When you become confident in assertion, you can state these things because you don't mind. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Yeah?
It's being smart.
Yeah.
Let me pick my battle. I'm in this house and I had my other friends here, and I thank God when the production that sent me pictures I posted on my Instagram, how we were having so much fun, because I almost lost sight of that because of this situation right here. But I had a great time with my connection, with my friends, with Phil, with all of them. Like, we had a ball, you know. So my mindset was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna talk to them. I got all these other people that I love and care about and love me. You know, that's all I care about. So I'm not gonna continue to have no conversation with anybody else, you know. And even when they had the whole thing, maybe we can segue into that when we were talking about gender roles and CEOs and all that stuff. That's important as well.
That came up, and Jessica said she didn't want to talk about that. But I just wanted to be clear, because the guys, it made it seem like you didn't want to answer up to agreeing about that. And the other guys, all we saw was Phil say no.
Phil jumped out. I want no beef, no smoke. Said, because it's messing up my situation. So you need to go, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And even when he communicated, he spoke in circles. Like, he really didn't just say what was said. He
said he was upset that you didn't own up to when you were the one that said it.
Yeah, exactly. So Messi Maurier, that ain't my words. I just saw it on a blog and I thought it was catchy. So, but that's the thing too. Like, it ain't.
Now, just to make it very clear, he's the one that said Messi Maurier. Now, I don't know where it comes from. I'm assuming it comes from someone's blog. I don't know who did it. I don't even know if it was me. It might have been me. I don't know. Did I type Messi Maurier? I can't remember. Let me go and check my videos. I don't know. Maybe I typed Messi Maurier. I don't know. But you know, doesn't look like it was me, guys. I don't think it was me. But whoever's blog it was, someone said Messi Maurier. This was Chris. Chris said it. I have to hold him accountable. Chris is the one that said it. Chris just said it on here, Messi Maurier. So when Maurier comes back later on and says you're a lying boy, and said because you called him Messi Maurier, you said no, because she said it. Chris, you said it. You hear me? Oh, was married 10 years. That was her title. Okay, Messi Maurier. Okay. So you saw it on a blog, but you announced it here. No one else was saying it. You said it. You know what I'm saying to you? You said it. So you're going to have to hold accountable for that part.
I wish that everybody wish they could do things differently or whatever, but, you know, at the end of the day, you guys are going to see a certain thing, and it takes people like you on this platform to allow us to say what happened, and then the viewers decide on who they side with. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why I really wasn't tripping, because at the end of the day, this is deeper than this small situation of this show.
Right.
You know, Red Love is small, but these concepts, these things that we're struggling with affects all of us. So I love this conversation. You saw I was excited today to get on there. Then when you say Mo coming, because I heard a little bit of when y'all talked last time, you don't keep it real. You know, so people are afraid of those real conversations, right?
They are. They appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. Shantia, thank you so much. So let me ask you this before we move on to elimination, Chris. The women's lounge and the men's lounge were a huge issue this season.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be safe spaces.
Oh no.
I would even I would not suggest saying anything. Everything was taken back on both sides. So from your perspective, what was the hole in the men's lounge because I expect women to do that.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. Mo always has this thing.
Yeah, the Mo
men is supposed to be a safe space. So what was happening that caused?
Oh, sorry, it's my side. Yeah. The Mo for us, and man, being transparent, it was Maurier. It is what it is, you know. Like, cause he sent a lot of group text, like screenshot both ways, and I hope you all listen to Maurier, so you can go ahead and try to say something about it later. He was the one that was really going back and forth. You know, Maurier, at the end of the day, Maurier wanted to be with Aries anyway, but Aries won't have that. You know, so it is what it is. So it's like they both gonna fall back to each other. Yeah. You know, and it's ironic, and I'm gonna get segue this word just to say, oh, I'm not into PDA, but you were PDAing me all day. You see what I'm saying? So let's not.
About that. She was arm in arm with you.
Thank you.
About that.
You know what I'm saying? So no, it's not that. You just not feeling this guy, but y'all have this group collective alliance where y'all want to go out to the end like it's a prize out there. You know, and I told Russian, I already have my contacts. I already know who I'm gonna talk to. That's, you know, the it's nothing else here to gain. It's not financial because no one is really making that type of money there, you know. So my mission has been accomplished. You know, so that's the thing. So yeah, for us, it was Maurier. Because you got to think now, going back, it was someone said in every elimination with a woman, he was involved in it. And I hate to keep talking about this guy because I don't want to make it about him. But if you think of Leanne, Tequila, Kira, all of those things, he was associated with that. Yeah. You know, and we manly men, we don't play like that. You see what I'm saying? And I've had manly conversations with these individuals. Me and Red had a verbal altercation. We squashed and we cool. Yeah. You know, because I go direct. But when you talk in circles.
Now, you notice again, he's mentioned again, I have manly conversations. Listen, I like it. I'm just saying, hey, the fact he keeps mentioning the manly, the male, the there's an overemphasis to push on this whole masculinity, being a man, etc., etc. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So there's a whole lot of emphasis on that, and there's a reason for it. You know what I mean? There's a reason for that. Now, what's interesting also too is. Yes, you're right. He mentioned about women being emotional leaders, and that's why I said that him mentioning that you got to make sure that you yourself are not emotional. If you're gonna say them bars, make sure that you yourself don't display those particular actions. Just saying.
You know, and if Maurier, if you want to get on a situation where we can talk head up, negative, whatever's comfortable for you, we can have these real conversations. You know, hopefully you're here. You know, and that's how we address things as men. Like I shouldn't be addressing a woman. I'm gonna try my best to avoid addressing a woman. You know, and it's like if me and a woman getting into it, I'm like, hey, you either gotta talk to my sister or I gotta go talk to your boyfriend or your husband. I'm gonna come to him kindly and softly, and if he want to go somewhere else, then I welcome it. You see what I'm saying? So that's the approach. You got to always proceed with kindness and understanding. And if we got to take it back to what it is,
if Mario,
bring him on, pull up on me.
If Mario is chat, he could definitely jump on. We can.
Yeah, I talk to him all day long. If you want to come
on. Do you feel like Maurier used that word on his own, or do you feel like he was told to use that word? Because production.
Yeah, Maurier knew what he was doing. I mean, we're grown. Ain't nobody that darn, you know, clueless to everything. You know, everybody has their tactics, and he knows that's gonna trigger her because that's the word that he does know that triggers her. Okay. And he knows that I am gonna be the target for that. Like it's always like that. The spoof, you know, that happens a lot. And as I look at it, things of this nature, it reoccurs in so many different. It manifests itself over and over and over. It's the same characters in every story. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, Maurier.
Oh, definitely, Mo.
So Maurier, send me put your Instagram in the chat, and I'll send you the link.
Yeah, send him a link.
I'll send him the link so he can come on into because I want him to be able to.
Yeah, that's why I said it so he can come on live so we talk.
Okay, all right. Mo, let me ask you this because when you watch, you said, you know what, it just feels weird for another man to do another man like that. So I want you to explain what you meant by that, and then Maurier, I'm gonna send you the link in your DM. Yeah,
I can't see the chat at all, so I can't reply to it. So if it's somebody I need to talk to, that's fine. Send him on there. Let him come on here.
Yeah, I'm gonna send him his does anybody know Maurier's Instagram? And I can just send him the I'm trying to find his Instagram. I can send him the link. Okay.
Low key, it felt like he threw him under the bus. Low key, that's what it felt to me. I mean, because if he didn't agree with those words, he could have chosen to use his own words.
Bingo.
But if he knew that was a trigger word, then that's when they were talking about the alliance and getting them up out of it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Bingo.
Yeah.
So that sounds about right.
But I just want to make sure production didn't tell him to do that.
Even if they told him,
That's
I
fair.
mean, yeah, come on. When you know, okay, Chris.
Don't bring Maurier in. Maurier.
What's
What's
going
up,
on?
Maurier?
What's up, lying ass boy?
Hey, I'm a
bro.
man. Don't call me boy. Don't play like that.
You're a boy, bro.
Okay, hold, Maurier.
Oh.
Wait, Maurier.
Keep going.
Hold on.
Okay.
First of all, welcome to the show.
Man, you know,
Right.
respect me more than that, man. Come on.
I'm sorry,
How we gonna have a conversation? You
apologize.
gonna come at me like that?
bro. You literally just called me. You just called me Messy Maurier. Chill out.
No, she called you Mr. Maurier on the other, but you really are though.
You lying again. You lying. You're the only person that's been shown as a liar on TV.
And this is why I said that Chris has accountability, because he did lie. Because in whether he forgot or whether he lied, in the end, they end up lying because you did call him Messy Maurier. I haven't watched all the interview all the way through. That's the problem. So I'm catching things late. You called him Messy Maurier. So you did do that. That's why you should have just said, hey, do you know what? Did I call you Messy Maurier? I apologize. I apologize. Again, why are we, if you can't remember that you said some stuff, you probably just need to just chill, B. Don't be so hot on it. Or even put a disclaimer at the end of it. Hey, I don't remember if I don't think I said that word, but just in case I did, you know what? Let me say sorry just in case I did, because I might have said it and I didn't realize I said it. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Like, if you know you got a tendency to say some stuff, you gotta be ready to be careful. At this point, you end up now you're looking like a liar. Do you know what I mean? Now you look like a liar because you did say it, right? Whether you're quoting a blog or not, no one else quoted the blog. You quoted the blog.
When you came up to that room, Lee was getting on you. Hold on, let's backtrack.
Keep
With
going.
all these so-called fake connections that you had, you know you did not have not one single one of them connections. Jessica was your real connection all the way up until your ex date. You said Jessica number one. I know that to be true because we shared the same connection.
Okay.
Moving forward, and when the ex day came back, it went to a hard note. All of a sudden,
yeah,
Jessica was your number one date up until it didn't start. No, everybody in the chat, did that conversation of him even make sense about why Jessica all of a sudden got turned on by him? Jessica's narrative is pushed that she is.
Go back and listen to what she said about that date when she said, "Oh, I kind of like."
We heard your lies already. We got to clear all this up.
Hold on, hold on, Chris. Let Maurier talk.
Okay.
Yeah, let's debunk this stuff real quick. So you mean to tell me an individual who is being called by both men and women, everybody, that she shows no emotion, no expression. Meanwhile, you were somehow, some way able to turn her on by calling her a strong black woman. That don't even make sense, Chris.
Now let's pause it here. If I remember correctly, Jessica was turned on by Chris checking her. On her interview, she actually mentions it. If I remember correctly, someone can correct me and I'll be happy to take the correction. But she said herself she was turned on when he decided to check her. That's when I said, oh, wait. So you was turned on by him checking you? Oh, you like the combat? So you like the combat. You want the combat. You want the back and forth, right? You want that back and forth. So, you like the fact that he handled you, which oftentimes tells me about the kind of person that you may be. Okay, so now I hear what he's saying. I see where the logic of where Maurier was going. There's logic in what he was saying, but unfortunately, the reality was different from your logic. She had already admitted that she likes that. Right? She likes that. This is why I said that both of them have this. Listen, what Jessica wanted from Chris, she wanted more. She wanted somebody she could. And I remember hearing this on a particular video saying, some women want a man. I want a strong man. I want a man that can handle me. In reality, what they're really saying is they don't want to change. They don't want to have to be respectful. They want a man that can handle the bull crap, so they can be their full unadulterated self, which is usually based out of pain and wounds. They want a man to be able to handle all of that. The reality is you have to have self-discipline. The reality is you have to have discipline in the way you behave. Right? And in the same measure, okay, like we're saying about Jessica, Chris is also very sensitive. And not only is he sensitive, he's unable to assert how he feels in that situation. And let me tell you this now, it took me a while, and I'm still learning how to do it appropriately to be able to assert myself in a conversation where someone's offending me in that way, for either me not to fly off the handle or me to completely shut down. What I do now is I let the person know, hey, I'm going to let you know I'm willing to have a conversation with you. But what you just said here, I'm not with it. This doesn't work for me. It offends me. And I don't want to get to a place where I'm going to lose sight of the conversation. So let's stay away from those words, right? I feel like you're insulting me when you say that. That's me asserting myself, letting you know I don't like that. Whereas beforehand, it would have been, you said something and I would have just shut down and I would have been manipulative because that's my next step. I'm going to manipulate the situation. Oh, I'm going to manipulate. Okay, right? I'm going to do tit for tat, or I'm going to get you back, or I'm a mope around, you know, be acting all mad sad, or, you know, try to stay away from you and want you to come and get me and come and collect me. I'll do a whole bunch of things to try and get you to manipulate the situation, to gain power back in that situation. That is not assertion. That's passive aggressive. Yeah. So when you start to learn how to be more assertive in the way you talk, you know, so just adding that aspect too, you know, just as a general principle as well, right? As a general principle.
That lie don't even make sense. Let's put it together. Let's fast forward. She was your number one connection over every single person. You did not have no Katarina in there. You didn't have no Aries in there. You put Lee in there towards the end. Now, get to the house trip. Did you or did you not walk up to me secretly on your phone, texting and saying, hey, man, I don't know what I'm going to do about Lee. I'm losing her. Did you or not, right or wrong, true or false?
If I take, yeah, because I told you, I just said, listen, I just said, you need to say something to
Okay, hold on,
you asked me a question. You asked me a question. Can I answer it? Can I answer it?
Yes or no?
Can I answer a question?
Let him answer.
I just say, I said, Maurier, go and tell this one what you said because you messing up my situation.
No, we're talking about
the same thing.
I'm talking about two completely different things. This was the note that you put on the phone before. This is the first day. We in the kitchen. We standing in the kitchen. You typing a note because we had a thing about the burgers are on the grill. We know we were mic'd up. We can't talk. It's me and you in the kitchen. Did you or did you not do that?
Say that you're messing up my connection. Yeah, you was messing up.
No. You're talking about the bedroom, and I'm going to clarify that lie too. We're talking about inside of the kitchen. In your phone, did you or did you not text me about, bro, I don't know how I'm going to do with Chris, with Lee? Yes?
What?
Now, here's my thing. I don't get what the issue here is, because what the very first thing that he said was, did you or did you not tell me that you came with a note to tell me that I feel like I'm losing Lee, which means you had a connection with Lee. Right? I'm assuming that let me listen more before I say anything. Let me listen more. I don't know
what was I trying to articulate if I said that.
You asking to see how can you create a connection between you two?
No.
You know what there.
Let me tell you.
No, answer the question.
Because the word he used was losing, not that I haven't got a connection with her. When if I remember correctly, what he said was on the note. Let me go slightly back. You know, we can rewind. We don't have to pretend as if we can't do that.
I don't know what I'm gonna do about Lee. I'm losing her. Did you or not, right or wrong, true or false?
If I take because I told you I just
listen again.
Now you didn't have no Aries in there. You put Lee in there towards the end. Now get to the house trip. Did you or did you not walk up to me secretly on your phone, texting and saying, hey man, I don't know what I'm gonna do about Lee. I'm losing her.
I'm losing her means I had her. You know what I mean? Which means I already had a connection with her. If I'm losing her, it means that something has changed. I'm losing her. I'm losing the connection I'm having with her. What is the point he's making about later on? I don't get it. The point that he's making later on. You know what I mean? I don't get the point he's making later on.
Did you or not, right, wrong, true or false?
If I take because I told you I just said listen. I just said you need to say something to
okay,
you asked me a question. You asked me a question. Can I answer it? Can I answer it?
Yes or no?
Can I answer a question?
Let him answer.
I just say I said, Maurier, go and tell this one what said because you messing up my situation.
No, we're talking about
the same thing.
I'm talking about two completely different things. This was the note that you put on the phone before. This is the first. The burgers are on the grill. We know we were mic'd up. We can't talk. It's me and you in the kitchen. Did you or did you not do that?
Say that you're messing up my connection. Yeah, you was messing up.
No. You're talking about the bedroom, and I'm going to clarify that lie too. We're talking about inside of the kitchen. In your phone, did you or did you not text me about, bro, I don't know how I'm going to do with Chris, with Lee? Yes?
In what manner? What was I trying to articulate if I said that?
You asking to see how can you create a connection between you two?
No.
You know it wasn't there.
Let me tell you.
No, answer the question. Did you or did you not do that?
Hold on.
This ain't even get nowhere with this conversation.
I mean, yes or no?
Me and Lee had a connection before we got to
the beating around it.
And that's the truth. Actually, this part here, Chris is right? Because the word he used originally, Maurier, which was very clever, and I don't know if you noticed, what Maurier said at the beginning was, you're losing her, which means already there's a connection there. If I'm losing her, there's something existing there. I'm losing something because there's something there previously. So I'm not creating a connection. there's already a connection. Do you know what I'm saying to you? I'm now losing the connection. The word that Maurier used was you're losing her. Did you or did you not use that? No. The problem is that Chris is almost trying to not get caught out in something. And when you're trying to not get caught out in something, you start to dilly-dally a little bit in the way you say something. Rather, he should be asking for clarification. When exactly did I say that so that I can make sure the context? Just leave it as that. Make it explain very, very clear. Right? You know, so make it very clear. So yeah. Did he say I'm losing as in losing out our guys? That's a good point. That's a good point. I don't know. You know, I'm not even sure if it did say that, if it said losing out properly. Or if it said I'm losing her. I can't see.
That's not the question I just asked you.
Bro, you can't just set me up and then just gonna say, did you say this?
Yes or no?
Maurier, let's because I don't think y'all are gonna get a answer out of.
Because he's lying. Y'all, the boy's lying.
So tell us, hold on, Maurier, from your perspective, because I was looking to talk to you on your own, but I will tell you guys, we didn't really see a lot of connections, period, right? What do you say to the fact that a lot of people have said that you had an alliance with Jessica and Janelle? Because a lot of people have said that. And we see you and Jessica saying that there's a connection, but we don't really see it. We haven't been able to see it. I understand editing has a lot to do with that, but I want to hear from your mouth. What is your perspective on that?
I honestly would say edits played a role with everybody, not just me.
Okay.
In real time, my very first date was Janelle. Out of everything, out of group dates, out of individual dates, my very first date was with Janelle.
Okay.
My second date was with Aries, I believe. My third date might have been a group date, I want to say. But I say for the most part, so like Sierra, they showed me and Sierra's first date. Me and Sierra did not actually have that date until like after the hoedown. So like even that was like out of place, because I think they showed it in like the second, maybe third episode or something. But it was actually after like the hoedown. So they haven't showed like literally any of, even the Kira date, that was actually a group date. Okay. That wasn't even a solo date. We had me, Phil, Jessica, and Kira had a group date at a beer spot. It was a beer spot. So we all were talking. They did the little scene there, and then they split us up. Me and Jessica went first, and Phil and Kira stayed. They had their split, and then me and Kira went, and then Phil and Jessica stayed. But then they showed it on the show as if it was just a single date between me and Kira. So I think like with the show overall, I feel like they're focusing more on like storylines, drama, versus of like showing the connections that was and connections that weren't. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And just allowing the people to, you know, simply do a connection.
So did you really have, who were your connections? Because Chris mentioned the fact that we did see that you and Kira, you were partial in her going home. And you did deliver the word combative. Did production to deliver the word combative?
Yes, and Chris knows that.
So let me ask you. No, I don't know that.
Hold on, Chris.
Because that's the word that you mentioned 4 or 5 times before that moment. That was the word that you mentioned 4 or 5 times before the moment. The same word that you lied and said that you didn't say, that you did actually say.
So now can I
and you said it multiple times. Now, because Chris was talking to me. So when we do the actual deliberation, any bubble date, hold on, just for you know, proof. See, a lot of times we just be saying stuff, but we don't be having.
Yeah, go send some more screenshots.
We actually got a screenshot right there. You look close, y'all can screenshot it, record it. April the 11th. That was the day we were there. In there, y'all look really close. The word combative is in there.
Okay. Send that to my Instagram.
Let me see if I can get that. I can't see anything on that. What he's showing. So let me see if I can see that. Okay.
Y'all look really close. The word.
Well, let's see if we can see anything. Oh, there we go. Acknowledge something. That something. Call Jessica. Call Sierra. Jessica feedback. Something. Friendship, but push back whether you can be combative and very something. There's a romantic or intimate connection. Sierra. Got a lot humble. Okay. You can be combative. You can be combative. Okay. Can you guys read that? Can you guys see that? I can see it on my thing, so I can only read a little bit of it. Though I cannot read all of it. Let me see if I can get you guys a bigger screen. Maybe you guys can see. All right. So here we go. But look what it says at the bottom. Personalize it. This is hard for me because you're both my strongest connections. I've seen the entire process. So it says, Jessica feedback. She is something. I think is that resilient? Something friendship. But pushback where you can be combative and very. Oh, I don't know what that C is. Let me see if I can speed up.
Word combative is in there.
Hold on. Don't go away from me now. Hold on. Let me go back. Sorry, let me just go back. Hold on. Okay.
Started recording. April the 11th. That was the day we were there. In there, y'all look.
Okay. A pushback where you can be constructive and very serious. There is a romantic or an intimate connection. Where's combative in here? Where's combative? Because I thought it was combative. I don't think is it combative or is that constructive? Or where you can be but pushback where you can be combative and very serious. I think that's what it's saying. Is that what it is? Oh, it's combative. Apologies. It is combative. Apologies, guys. And very serious. Yeah. Apologies, guys. That's my bad. So feedback, horrible. I don't know what that says on the top row, guys, but yeah, but pushback where combative and very serious. I'm guessing there's romantic, intimate connection.
Really?
Pushback where you can be combative and very serious. There's a romantic connection, a romantic or intimate connection. That's Jessica's feedback. Okay, that's her feedback. But do you have to read combative part? You know what I mean? So again, even so, why is he blaming Chris? You know what I'm saying to you? If Chris is the one that said it in the lounge, but you're saying production pushed you to say it, why are you blaming Chris? You know what I'm saying? So if Chris said it, but it's you that's in the lounge, you are the one that said it, and you know that's a trigger word. And yes, it does say personalize it, Terry. That's the point I was making. It says personalize it. So he decided to personalize it and leave that word on there. Ain't nobody's fault but Maurier. Right? It ain't nobody's fault but Maurier. Because all he's done now is tell us how he should have personalized it and didn't personalize it, which he said he took accountability and apologized for. But the reality of the situation is you're saying that production pushed you, but I'm like, you didn't have to say it. Because you can personalize it. They're giving you a script to work from. They didn't tell you to say it word for word.
Click close. The word combative is in there.
Sarah got the homie vibes. And bear in mind, the script is also from what's been said in the lounges. So whatever's being said in the lounges also is what's being produced into a script. Personalize it. This is hard for me because you're both my strongest connections. I've seen the best of you both in the entire process. Feedback. Something home vibes.
Okay, send this to my Instagram because I can't see that on the screen.
My thing, I don't know whether production told you why did you use that word, but no,
because that was what was said. So
and it was a collective decision.
Your job, it was a Chris decision. It was a Chris decision.
Wait, but Maurier.
And this is the part where Maurier falls down. It's not a Chris decision because they're taking the words from whatever's been said in the lounge. Then they're formulating a script. So whatever words are being said in the lounge, they formulate into a script. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So whatever's being said in the lounge, whatever's been said amongst the boys, yes, he might have said combative, but if there's other words that are also being said, Okay, if there are other words that there has to be other people are confirming that process. There has to be other people confirming that word being an appropriate word. What I mean by that is there's a general consensus. They might not have said combative, but they might have used other words that are in a synonym with combativeness. So someone might have said, you know what? Yeah, she has been a little bit da 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 da. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Yeah. So it now leads into, okay, we're going to formulate a script and say combative.
How can one person send everybody home?
Yes.
So let me I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna literally explain the whole entire process, everything how it works. So you have 4 men at this moment that are left. We have me. I state my piece. Chris, he states his piece. Quinn states his piece. Phil states his piece. He's the last one there. So in every episode, every lounge, we always say 3 top people, 3 bottom people. That's how it always goes, and you always normally go in the order. In the men's lounge, I can honestly say our lounges, we were normally majority rules. That's normally how the process went.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So if the majority rules, what the heck? How did majority get Jessica to a place?
Now we get down to where obviously it's only 4 men left, right? So now we're pretty much equal in this moment. Just so happens the 2 people that are in the bottom in the moment are both my connections at this time, right?
Right.
Head producer pulls me outside, pulls me away from everybody else. I'm not standing outside. He said, hey, I don't want you thinking that, production has anything to do with this. These are your connections. This decision is left up to you. I said, man, well, hey, it's Jessica. I'm thinking that we just going to go back. Somebody else is going to deliver. I don't know if Tom is going to do it. I don't know how this is going to work.
Wait, what? Wait. What is going on? Hold on. What?
Else, I'm not standing outside. He said, hey, I don't want you thinking that, production has anything to do with this. These are your connections. This decision is left up to you. I said, man, well, hey.
Did you guys hear what he just said? Thank you, Jay. They said they left it up to him. Why the frick is Jessica in the bottom if it's left up to you? No, that's how to go back. I was like, wait, hold on a minute. What are you saying to me, sir? What are you saying to me, sir? Hold on a minute now, Cap. Hold on a minute now, Cap. What you really saying, sir? Wait, what?
It's Jessica. I'm thinking that we just going to go back. Somebody else is going to deliver. I don't know if Tom is going to do it. I don't know how this is going to work. Come to the kitchen.
See, this is the part I don't get. Majority rules, but production pulls you aside and said, I don't want you to feel like production are the ones who made this decision. Then who made the decision? No, let's deep it. If you told us a story, by the way, production not sorry. You said that the majority rules with the men in the situation. So whoever the majority are, you, Phil, Chris, and yourself. You have a conversation with production. Production said, we don't want you to feel like we have anything to do with this decision making. Well, if it's got nothing to do with production, who makes the decision? Either Maurier or Maurier and the group make the decision. And then you said, well, hey, I guess it's got to be Jessica. So what was the reason for why Jessica was in the bottom? I'm just confused. Why is it Jessica and Sierra are in the bottom? Sierra, I can understand, but why is Jessica in the bottom? What was their reasoning for her being in the bottom? Let's just skip it back slightly. We just I want to make sure I hear correctly. I don't want to misinterpret. Let's hear one more time.
Okay.
So we get down to where obviously it's only 4 men left, right? So now we're pretty much equal in this moment. Just so happens the 2 people that are in the bottom in the moment are both my connections at this time, right?
Right.
Head producer pulls me outside, pulls me away from everybody else. I'm not standing outside. He said, hey, I don't want you thinking that, production has anything to do with this. These are your connections. This decision is left up to you. I said, man, well, hey, it's Jessica. I'm thinking that we just going to go back. Somebody else is going to deliver. I don't know if Tom is going to do it. I don't know how this is going to work.
I don't get. So when they said, oh, hey, it's Jessica. So what? Either 2 things happening. Either he had to choose between Sarah and Jessica, or the men already chose that Jessica was at the very bottom. Right? Which means the group have already agreed that the 2 at the bottom. why is Jessica in the bottom? I want to know the reasons what they gave. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? So regardless of whether he got to send him home or didn't get to send him home, or whether we misunderstand, the key thing is their majority rules in that place. The majority have chosen that Sierra and Jessica are at the bottom, right? Oh, he's saying he picked Tequila. Okay. It's very difficult to even choose which side. I think there can be either way. Whether he chose to go home or it's not very clear. But maybe so he's picked Jessica to stay over Sierra. Okay, that's cool then. That's fair. If we can go by that consensus. But either way, at the bottom of the situation, they're still at the bottom, and they're ruled by the majority. That doesn't change. Either way, the two are at the bottom. Why were they at the bottom? So I'm asking that question. Why was they at the bottom? That's the key question.
Come to the kitchen. Quinn's asking, he's like, so what's the decision? I said, man, majority rules, bro. That's just how it works. Majority rules. So it got to be Sierra.
So majority rules, it's got to be Sierra. Okay, my brain is spinning. I'm confused. My head is spinning. Hold on. My head is spinning. Let me go back a little bit. Hold on. Confusing me. Let me do it one more time.
So now we're pretty much equal in this moment. Just so happens the two people that are in the bottom in the moment are both my connections at this time, right?
Right.
Head producer pulls me outside, pulls me away from everybody else. I'm not standing outside. He say, hey, I don't want you thinking that production has anything to do with this. These are your connections. This decision is left up to you. I said, man, well, it's just I'm looking at, we just gonna go. Somebody else is gonna deliver. I don't know what Tom is gonna do. I don't know how this is gonna work.
I'm still not getting it. And the reason why is because he says we're gonna go back, and I don't know, maybe Tommy's gonna deliver it. But so if he's chosen Jessica to stay, why would he be concerned about who's gonna deliver the message? Do you get what I'm saying to you? I think that's why I'm confused. Like, if Jessica has been chosen to stay, why would someone else go and deliver the message? I don't know. But anyway, my brain.
Come to the kitchen. Quinn's asking, he's like, so what's the decision? I said, man, majority rules, bro. That's just how it works. Majority rules. So it got to be Sierra.
So majority rules, it's got to be Sierra. So Sierra's got to go. We know that already. Yeah. So Sierra's got to go. Right. Sierra's got to go.
He's like, all right, well, Simone was like, hey, I need to come and talk to you. My bad, I didn't mean to say your name. But she's like, hey, I need to come and talk to you. At this moment, I'm already know, I'm like, man, I know they ain't finna make me come down there and do this. I know they're not finna make it. I was gone for 45 minutes away from everybody else. If you notice, when we were all walking out getting set, I'm the back person walking out because I was the last person. They were already outside by the time I actually came down and walked out with everybody else, right? Okay. So she was like, hey, these are the things you got to say. These are the things that was mentioned. And I'm like, man, why can't somebody else do this? Like, I'm fine. I'm like, man, hey, go get the head producer. Bring him up here. Like, yo, get somebody else to do this. I don't want to do this. Okay. We're going back to just about doing it, right? So now it's already a hard situation. You're nervous. You're on camera. You're doing all this stuff. So now I'm trying to remember everything that's said because I have to say this verbatim. Even down to, as y'all can see on the notes, who you got to call first. Literally, who you have to call first. So this was said about Jessica. This is said about Sierra. I have to mention everything.
Now, listen, let me be very frank with you again, once more, right? Let me do this now. If you tell me to say a certain word and I tell you I'm not going to say that word, I believe it's disrespectful and I believe it's triggering. If I have to say it verbatim, I'm going to tell you I'm not going to use that word. Right? You know what I mean? I am not going to use a word. If you tell me I have to say something verbatim, I'm going to tell you, oh no, I'm going to choose a different word. Yeah, I'm going to choose a different word. I'm like, oh, that word doesn't look right. You're not even, it's not even like you're reading a teleprompter. At least with a teleprompter, you're kind of reading the script as it's going. You might say it by mistake. But this is something that they've given you a script for. You said they've given you a script and it's down to the T. You know that word is triggering.
that said about the men, because I can't be in this space. I can't say, hey, it's so-and-so. Hey, it's so-and-so that said this. Hey, so-and-so says this. No, you have to say the men feel that you are tall. The men feel that you are pretty. The men feel that you are cool. The men feel that you are combative. In this.
So why not push back on the producers and tell them, hey, I'm not saying that because I don't believe that. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Why not say, hey, I'm not going to say because I don't believe that's the case. So we need to use a different word. This script doesn't work for me. Better yet, why are you so afraid of actually saying the word combative? Because you know that's a trigger word for her. So if that's the case, if I care about, if I know you and you know what, I'm going to like, wait, that's going to trigger my friend or that's going to trigger the girl that I like. Are you mad? Are you dumb? Are you stupid? Do you think you're going to get me to say something that I know I like a girl and I know these words are going to be triggering? And you think I'm going to say it out loud on national television? I'm saying, listen, either you get someone else to do it, yeah, or I'm going to change the word. So if you want me to do it, I'm changing the word because I'm not going to say that word. So what do we want to do? Because I'm not about to be pushed to say a word that I know that is going to cause issues between me and the girl that I like long term. You see what I'm saying to you? Like, men don't like doing. If a man really cares about someone, right? He's willing to fight in those situations. You know what I'm saying to you? When I say fight, I mean go against the grain. So if I feel like I really like that girl and you're telling me I got to say that, I'm going to look at you and go like, you better write me a new script because I'm not doing it. Do you get what I'm saying to you?
Space, I knew, yes, to Chris's point, I did know that there was a triggering word for her.
And why would you
but
say
for
it,
me,
bro?
like I said at the house in front of everybody, that it was a 40-inch slip. Chris knows this to be true because I said that in front of him in the kitchen.
Okay, so because you did look like, man, I messed up.
I messed up, and I took accountability for it multiple times. I messed up by saying it. I did not plan to say that word.
But let me ask you this, Maurier.
So what word did you plan to say? Because all now you haven't told us what word you're going to say. Now, all now you haven't told us what word you're going to say. What were you going to do? All now you haven't told us, you know what? I wasn't going to say the word. I changed it for another word. You had no plan. You had no plan. What you did is what we call asking for forgiveness rather than permission. Because let me do this now. Let me keep it a buck. Where was the plan? Where was the, you know what? You know what? I heard combative and I definitely was changing the word. I changed the word to, you know what? She's a little bit strong. Where's that? Where's that plan? It's not Freudian because in reality, even if you told yourself, I don't plan to say it, where was your plan? What was you going to say then? What was you going to say?
Just being honest. Was Chris the only man that felt that way about Jessica in the lounge?
Yes.
That's a lie, bro.
Who else?
We all felt like that.
All
of us. We all felt like that. Whether you don't say it.
Who's the other person?
I said all, brother.
Okay, so they be feeling quick.
Whole enchilada.
All right, let's get them on the line.
We all felt like that.
On the line.
We all felt like that.
Because it's funny with all these things.
The women felt like that. The women felt like
that.
that. The producers felt like that. Everybody felt like that.
You
chose to say that word and you knew that was a trigger.
Okay.
You knew it was because you were
chose to say that word and you knew it was a trigger.
Because you thought she started some rumors on you. That's what it was about. That's what you thought. Let's be honest.
You
girl is the number one pick. And I said the same thing at the reunion. In your face, right there in front of you. I said the same thing in your face. To the house.
Maurier, let Chris.
Hold on, this don't make sense. Hold on.
Who's the other person?
I said all, brother.
Okay, so they be feeling quick.
Enchilada.
All right, let's get them on the line.
We all felt like that.
On the line.
Because it's funny with all these things.
The women felt like that. The women felt like that.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Phil and Quentin are not going to say anything. They didn't say anything on television. They certainly ain't saying that in an interview. I'll be honest with you. If Phil and Quentin literally they ditched at the room, they definitely ain't going to say nothing on this live. Like they ain't going to come out live and say something against Jessica. If they were scared on the show, they ain't going to be scared. They're definitely going to be scared on this interview. Ain't no way. Okay. So there ain't no way. So there's no way we're gonna get we're gonna get them to come on here and say that she's combative. My issue is then Maurier's issue with Chris doesn't make sense. Let me tell you why Maurier's issue doesn't make sense. Because if Chris is the only one who felt she was combative, then his issue should be with the script and not with Chris. Right? If your issue is with the fact that Chris is the one that said combative, it's from him, he's the one that's been saying it. Why is it production have picked up a script to tell you to say combative and you're not angry at the production who picked up his only words and make it the whole thing when you don't believe in it? I need you to understand you're missing the point here, my friend. You're missing the point big time. You're out here trying to circumvent and trying to redirect, but I'm not buying it. It doesn't make physical sense. The one person said she's combative. Everyone else disagrees. Production make a whole script on the person who you like, and you believe the word is also, you know the word is your triggering word for our good sis Jessica. Why not be angry at production forcing you to say something which only Chris is the one that said, but you want to flip the script and be like, it's Chris who said it, when in reality you should have never said it. And then you should have covered him because you should have said, look, what was said in the lounge should have stayed in the lounge. Instead, y'all flipped it and allowed Jessica and Janelle to pull you up by the bootstrap and pull everyone into a conversation when you basically said that no one else felt this way. So this is why I said that Maurier is the original villain, because all of this starts from him and him not being strong about his actual views. He's not being truthful to us. Right? Because in reality, this conversation doesn't get out in the way it does until Maurier says something. But you're telling me it's one man, Chris? So what were you trying to do? You're trying to set Chris up. You taking me for a mug. You're trying to set Chris. Listen, I believe Chris is an issue as well. Do not get it twisted. Chris is an issue, but you set a brother up. That's you nasty for that, bro. Because you're willing that when you made a mistake to now throw another guy underneath the bus. Why were you expecting Chris to take accountability for something that's said in a lounge and you said it's only Chris who said it and production have picked it up and said you all said it? Where's the brains, bro? Where is the brains, bro? How can you have a position like that? That one person said it and production forced you to say that everybody said it and you don't believe in it and just a trigger. And then after, you expect Chris to come out, and by the way, still, Chris should have owned it. Don't get it twisted. But then you want Chris to come out and take over and say he said what he said to what? Get you out of the situation. No, let's deep it. What are you telling me, bro? What are you really telling me? So after you get caught, you then want me to also get caught with you when you know it's a private conversation. And you've made your whole rhetoric now about Chris, you know, you're an issue for saying it. But the reality is it was said in private. It's not meant to be said out loud. You now showing me you messy. Do you know why? Because you're afraid of Jessica. You're afraid of upsetting her. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man.
The producers felt like that. Everybody felt like that.
And clearly the producers did feel like that because they formulated a whole script and said that you should go and say it. You get what I'm saying to you?
You knew that was a trigger.
Here's my thing too. Is Sierra homie vibes? Was that you, Maurier? Was that you, or was that one of the guys who said it? Who said that Sierra has got homie vibes? Who said homie vibes?
Okay.
No, it was you were
you
trying
chose to say that word. You was a trigger.
Because you thought she started some rumors on you. That's what it was about. That's what he thought. Let's be honest. That girl is the number one pick. And I said the same thing at the reunion. In your face, right there in front of you. I said the same thing in your face. To the house. Let's get to the house.
If Chris doesn't know that if Chris doesn't know that if Chris doesn't know that combativeness is a trigger word, when he says it to you guys in the lounge, how are you flipping the situation on? This doesn't make sense. Him starting rumors, how can he start rumors when he doesn't know the word is a trigger word? He believes that this is what she is. I'm not giving Chris a pass. By the way, we all know that Chris's behavior, we've seen it about the emotionality, the sensitivity. There's some lies that he's told as well, which I've called out. But I'm sorry, this doesn't make no sense. If Chris is the one that was trying to create rumors, he already said he's combative in the men's lounge. Where was he trying to get back at her? Where? He doesn't like what she does. She doesn't like him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me just go back slightly so you just hear it.
You chose to say that word, and you knew that was a trigger.
Okay,
no, you knew it was because you
chose to say that word, and you knew it was a trigger.
Because you thought she started some rumors on you. That's what it was.
So Chris said she's combative because he felt like she was starting rumors on him. So that's why. So we're saying that Chris only said combativeness because she started some rumors on them.
That's what you thought. Let's be honest. That girl is the number one pick. And I said the same thing at the reunion. In your face, right there in front of you. I said the same thing in your face. To the house.
Maurier, let Chris respond. Let Chris
There's so many lies.
It's not a lie. We've had moments where we said it in the lounge how we felt. You can't fault me for how my experience with her was. You can't fault me for that. That's my experience.
Chris, nobody's faulting you for that.
Let me finish though. Let me finish. Show me the same amount of respect. You heard me say that before? Yeah. So you can't fault me for my experience. If I felt that way, we all felt it. I just used the word more apparently, and I said we had combative moments. It was combative situation traits. The first time I called her that was at the elimination, and when I did a pickup before the reunion, that was that. And when she called us out there, you're not gonna put me up on probably crucify all of us. If she felt it was just me, then come just talk just to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit there in a witch hunt to where I'm gonna go after 2 wins. I'm not gonna do that. That's not no, bro. I'm not gonna do that. Like,
what? Let me ask you this: why are it's because, like I said, I expect the women. We've seen the women fighting back and forth, right? Mm-hmm. But why? What's the issue with the two of you guys? Because you said we saw you on Friday's episode, like you were really physically upset because I feel like you didn't like the fact that Jessica was hurt, right? So what were you upset because you had to deliver the message, or were you upset because you made the 40 and slip? What made you so upset to where you got up and walked out, or were they told? Jessica said production told you to walk out.
Production did tell me to walk out. Lainey was the Pacific production member that actually said to get up and walk out.
Okay.
Throughout everywhere, we had them all over. Now, what I will say to both points, it was actually I was upset about both. I didn't want to do the deliberation at all. Why would I be wanting to send either one of my connections home? I don't want to send either one. Send somebody else's connection home. I don't want to send them home. You know. And I was so, like I said, I was so focused on not saying it because I'm like, dang, I know this is gonna be a problem. I know this is gonna be a problem. Boom, messed around and said it. I'm damn.
And guys, just
messed around and said it. How you mess around and say it? You knew you shouldn't say that word, but you mess around and say it. That's why I said you had no plan. You had no plan. You had no other script. So if you don't have another script, another script, guess what's going to happen? You're going to end up probably saying it.
Clear things up. I'm not angry at Maurier. You know what I'm saying? This is all about the whole situation. Like, me and him disagree. I feel that he was being messy in some areas. He feel like I was lying about something. We're trying to get an understanding right now in a resolution and why we both feel how we feel. So if he got beef for me, that's a personal problem. If that's something he needs to address, he can address that. You know what I'm saying? So I want y'all to bring him so we can have this conversation.
Yeah, he did.
Like, I'm not trying to go back and forth and fight with him, on this at all, verbally nor physically, unless he chooses to.
We don't choose. We don't choose. This is a safe space. But he did say bring you up, Maurier. And
You see, again, about the choose to fight situation. Why is Chris in that space? Why are you even in that mode? It's an argument. It's got nothing to do with fight. Why are you thinking about it can go to that space if it needs to? That tells me that's too much reactivity for me. That's way too much reactivity for me from Chris. That it can go there if it needs to. Like, I don't talk like that on a regular basis. I don't. It's very rare. Like, I don't even, in fact, it doesn't even enter my language because I don't want to get into a fight. A fight is last resort. In fact, I'm not even talking about it. It's like having a divorce. I'm not talking about it. We're not having divorces in my relationship. You understand what I'm saying to you? We both understand we've got to work it out. Sufficing that nobody cheats on anybody and no one's abusive, right? It's like fighting shouldn't be on my lips. So why is fighting on your lips, Chris? Why is that on your lips? Why is that? It can go there if it needs to go there because you're trying to prove something once more. Again, you don't need to be in that place. You need not to be in that place, my brother. By the way, we've got 500 people in the room. 500 of you guys are here early up in the morning at 8 a.m. Please do me a massive favor. Like it, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. We have 500 people in the room. Fantastic. Subscribe to this fabulous channel. We do breakdowns. We'll be doing a bigger breakdown later on tonight with a super panel. And they will talk about it as well and break it down from their perspective. But also, if you haven't done so, like the video. It helps with analytics. And share it with somebody else as well. Let's really have this conversation. You know what I mean? It's crazy in the dunya, cuz.
I saying that because I do think I love the fact that you get a chance to explain your point here.
Bingo.
The problem is no one likes seeing how that happened, right? Yeah. Afterwards, Janelle got everybody together and said, how could you guys think that it was okay to use that word towards a Black woman? Maurier, my question to you is that word a problem or is the behavior a problem? If no one else saw that, if Chris had that experience, was he wrong for saying what his experience was? Because it feels like everybody just want to backtrack because they didn't want to piss anybody off. But if that was his experience, do you think he was wrong for honestly saying what his experience was?
In no shape or form, Chris wouldn't be wrong about honestly saying what his experience was.
Okay.
I don't think that is not what the part that's being called. People are asking the question of a false narrative blamed on someone with no examples. That's what we're actually talking about. Okay. Now, when it actually pertains to words like combative. Now, I'm very, I think the consensus knows that I'm very serious about my culture. So like using certain words, I just don't fly with, you know, and how we try to paint.
And being serious with your culture, bro. Then
Chris, hold on.
I literally just said it was a Freudian slip. I just explained it.
My apologies.
And I stand 10 toes down when I said it. I was wrong. I was dead wrong about it. In the same house, I was also the same person who spoke with both Janelle and Kat. Told both of them about using the word "be." I was consistent with that from day one. And we had a whole production meeting
about using the word what?
Using the B word. Like I'm just talking about how we as Black people are perceived, how we talk about each other, the things. There's no clip, there's no moment, there's no secret, there's no under the breath, none of that where I said anything negative about no man nor woman. I never said nothing bad, even if that person wasn't a connection. Yeah. I never spoke ill, never said no little side jokes, none of that about nobody the whole time. We even had a whole boycott meeting, brought it up, brought the whole situation up, and I'm going to address this mold lie also that was.
Yeah, that's what you were doing. You ain't saying nothing negative. You were just snitching. You were like,
we're going to address that. We're going to address that because
see, and Chris thinks he's slick too. That's why he spotted Jessica. Yeah, Chris thinks he's slick. That's why he saw Jessica, because that was a slick comment. Like you try to play it off like you were just saying something. That's why you can see Jessica, because you guys are exactly the same. Your mouth is too sharp. Right? You hear stroking your beard really nonchalantly saying, no, you was like, yeah, you know, you was just here just snitching to everybody. You know exactly what that comment is. You know exactly what that comment is. When you drop the whole snitch comment there and did it in that way, you know exactly what you're saying. You know exactly what you're saying when you say that. That's the exact same way Jessica would do something. Very slick, under the kind of quash, the same way that Jessica did to Lee. Very slick. Exact same behavior. Because you guys see each other. This is why you were trying to cancel her before the situation, because you could see yourself going back and forth with somebody who has equally the same amount of madness that you have. Right? Same kind of madness. That doesn't take away the fact that, yes, Maurier did snitch. I mean, he was been snitching to women. But you know, you do the exact same thing our good sis was doing.
That's really Chris projecting. He's actually telling the truth on himself. But we're gonna get to that.
What I'm saying about
in the actual boycott that we had a whole boycott against production, whatever. And I think that kind of plays a role as to how all of us have been perceived to a degree because of that situation.
Okay, so there was a boycott from production. Apparently there was a madness. I didn't even realize that. So something happened between production and the people, and something's gone wrong. So something happened between production. We need to find out the story. I will try and find out what happened. Production and thingy. There's something that happened, bro. You know, something happened, bro. Between production and the those who are on the show, something happened, because he just said about a boycott twice, boycott in production. Now I don't know what that is, but we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what the boycott is.
Where I told him, I said, man, from day one, I'm not gonna be fighting or going back and forth. I'm not gonna be disrespecting, calling no woman out her name. Me and Chris.
Okay, let me ask you this, and I hate to do this because we're talking about this situation, but it did seem like you were really, really, really hard on Kira. So, and some of the other castmates have said they stood up for her. And when you brought up several things, and I heard, then we know Janelle, kind of went at her. Like, looking back, do you feel like that's wrong the way you approached the situation with Kira?
No, because I actually approached Kira very respectfully. I didn't approach Kira or say anything like sideways. And it's funny because so there's a podcast kind of like this that is with a Ready to Love cast from previous seasons. Somebody sent it to me and I hopped on and they were talking about the moment between me and Kira. And I actually got on and I defended the idea that somehow I was like the gatekeeper for blackness.
Yes.
And me and Kira actually have this little sidebar at the reunion. Hopefully they'll show it. But when we talk about this and where I'm basically discussing, like, this was not about like saying if you're black enough or not, or because you speak proper. I mean, hell, Jessica talks just as proper. You know what I'm saying? If not more. But it was more about if this connection could be possible because of how vastly different our lifestyles are.
That's
and I mean, just as much as she's in a small percentage of black people, I'm probably in an even smaller percentage of black people. You know what I mean? And I know that to be true. And so it wasn't, because I honestly think Kira's a cool person as a person, right? I think she's a pretty girl. I don't think she's ugly. Like Chris said, I agree with him, what he said earlier. We didn't have an ugly girl. We didn't have that. So it pretty much got to the point to where we're trying to figure out, okay, as personalities and lifestyles going to be able to mesh.
Okay. Hey, Chris, ask him about Tequila too. How you play Tequila? Tell him on that.
Yeah, we'll play it. We'll say that because that's where a lot of the stuff is actually starting from.
So let's talk. So
wait, what? Who played Tequila? Wait.
Right? I think she's a pretty girl. I don't think she's ugly. Like Chris said, I agree with him what he said earlier. We didn't have an ugly girl. We didn't have that. So it pretty much got to the point to where we're trying to figure out, okay, as personalities and lifestyles going to be able to mesh.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Chris, ask him about Tequila too. How he played Tequila. Tell him on that.
Yeah, we'll play. We'll say that because that's where a lot of the stuff is actually starting from.
So let's talk. So let me ask you this before we get off.
So but he said how he played Tequila. Is he saying Maurier played Tequila, or is he saying that production played Tequila? Is he saying that how they play Tequila or how he played Tequila? Are they talking about production or him? It's not. I know he kind of said he, but the way that Crystal took the question and the way that Maurier took it as well, that he didn't take the slick comment. So I don't know if it was a slick comment or whether it was genuinely they both understood that it was production. You know what I'm saying to you? Or how Maurier, because that's a slick comment. When he says that how Maurier played, he said how he played production. You know what I mean? Tequila. So,
do you feel like the way she was treated by Janelle was appropriate?
By where Kira? Yes. Her and Janelle moment? Yes.
But do you think that was fair?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. Explain why.
Only because of the other individual that told me what was fully said. A man.
What was said? Just tell us what was said. I
don't want to break the compass. I wasn't supposed to say.
Oh, now you don't want to break it.
I'm gonna say it's warranted. See, one thing.
Okay, all right. Let me ask you this.
Crystal, let me explain this.
Wait.
I've been consistent with.
I can end this. I can end my line of questioning. When Janelle said her purse is fake, mine is real. Are you okay with that?
No.
When I told Janelle said these ugly ass bitches, are you okay with that?
No.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure you're not just riding for your buddy.
Not at all.
Okay. My thing, if these are your buddies, why are you not holding them accountable if you're not okay with that?
I literally just said that they were wrong, and I have held them all the time.
He said he did.
On camera. I talked about Kat and Janelle. See, the thing about what I'm saying, it can be proven.
Did you talk to him about Tequila and everybody else?
So let's talk about Tequila.
Real quick. We have to make sure we cover all of the things, because what he'll like to do is skip over very important pieces. In the room, when we were in the room, because you can go watch the episode, the scene with him and Lee, it's on the OWN network on the YouTube channel. They didn't air it. That's the conversation that he's talking about. It's me, Quinn, and Phil. We're still in the room. He's walking in. Chris says to me, hey, man, Lee's getting on me. She's thinking that I'm starting all of this. I'm responsible for everything that I said it. I said, Chris, don't even worry about it, bro. The word came out of my mouth. I'm the one that said it. I said, you know what? Let's leave it alone. Let's dead it. I'm the one that said it. I'll go ahead and take the rap for it. Did I not say that in the room?
Yeah,
Chris?
but you didn't take the rap for it.
Hold up. That's not what
you asked. No. You cannot ask me. Let me tell you something.
That's how quick you to find the lies.
Guys, come on, Chris. We got it.
The thing is, though, you cannot ask me a question that's a yes or no and not allow me to answer it.
That's true. That's true.
That's tactful.
But Chris, you can't start off with the lie and try to backtrack, bro.
Okay, well, you guys, we can't both talk because we can't hear. Chris, let Chris respond to what you just said.
Thank you so much. You said that, but then when it was time to talk about it, you was talking in circles. You didn't just concrete say that you chose. Like, you didn't say you said it, bro. You didn't say that. Everybody else noticed that you was talking in circles. So I'm like, well, it is what it is. We gonna move on. But you didn't concrete and say that, hey, I said this. You know what I'm saying?
Chris,
like,
that's what I literally just asked you. You're not making no sense.
You didn't say that you felt she was combative also. And now
I never said she was combative. I never said that. And that's on my life. You know I never said that.
Okay.
Put that on something. I've been asking you questions.
Man,
all
we
day
ain't in
long.
third grade. Put that on something.
But that's how you've been acting this whole time. Like
man,
you're
get on. We're gonna put it on Maurier had a little lounge.
Like the amount of lies, Chris. I came in there, you walked in that room literally after everybody left and sit up here and said, man, Lee is giving me hell behind
I did say that. That's not a lie. I admit I did say that.
I just literally said in real time.
I walked in and said that.
No, you came in and when I wasn't on here, you were talking about I had to tell Maurier, you need to go down because you're messing up my connection. No,
that's what I said.
That's not what you
what's
said.
The next thing?
That's not happening in real time.
That's not even important. Let's move on.
How the lies are important because
no. I'm not saying. But Maurier, I'm saying for the
you're the only person that said it, Chris.
The viewers are interested in knowing what still from Chris. And I'm gonna let you respond to this after Chris.
Okay.
I want to know from Chris, what did Jessica?
I'm not gonna lie to you, I couldn't make sense of one argument that was happening there, bro. It was I was trying to understand what was happening, but it wasn't making sense all the way. I wasn't sure what they were trying to say here, so it was a bit confusing, But I think what was meant to happen was that Maurier was meant to take the full brunt of saying the stuff, but then he started speaking in circles apparently, and then unfortunately, it was an issue. But unfortunately, he didn't do what he said he was going to do. Then they're talking about the fact that Chris was given hell by Lee, and I'll just say this straight. Listen, if I said you combative, I don't care if you get the 4 out of 5 women to come in and say something. I believe you're combative. You're not about to change my mind. Now, did you say it? Yeah, did you say it or did you not say it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not about to, I'm not about to start trying to shirk and jive because other gals coming to me telling me about, thing. And to be fair, Lee was trying to, and what we saw, Lee was trying to tell him, stand on your square. If you're going to do something, do something. You understand what I'm saying to you? If you're going to say something. Don't be no pussy about it. That's exactly what I heard on that exclusive. That Lee was basically telling him, stop being a pussy about it. And that's why I told you about when she did her interview with Crystal. The reason why she couldn't see Chris in that way is because he wouldn't stand on his square. He kept on doing too much where he tries to shirk things. So you've got to own it, Chris. You know what I mean? Like, and so even with Maurier's got to own his part, you can't ask him to own his part and then not own yours. You get what I'm saying to you? You can't be saying Maurier didn't take the brunt and then you not own what you also been saying too. You said that in the lounge. So own it. Stand on your square. Let them know that, listen, hey, I'm 10 toes down. I said what I said.
To say at the elimination that caused you to be that angry and to say F her. That's what
it's a plethora of things that
but what are those things that she said?
But you got in the same way when she was talking to you, that was a lot of stuff happened. That day was long. So it was a plethora of things. The main thing was like the disrespect. Like I just felt like she just kept disrespecting me throughout the process, how she was disrespecting everybody else, how she, even on phone conversations, all of those things. There was things outside of the camera. But if that's cool with her, it's just not cool with me. Like I don't do well with disrespect at all. That's why when Maurier said, boy, I had to calm down because that's gonna go to another avenue. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always respect somebody because people here don't understand that it's only one way after that. Like, and we don't need to go that route. Like, there's so many things we can do to prevent that. And so when I'm forced to be there with a woman that I do not have an interest with and I don't want to be connected to, I'm back against the wall and it's a setup between her, the production, whoever. It don't even matter at this point. And I'm continuously telling y'all, hey, we're not a connection. She even asked me why we're not a connection at the elimination. Why at this point, if you're so-called like in Maurier, why are you worried about me and why we're not a connection? Let
me ask Mo, do you understand what I'm asking? Because I feel like maybe I'm not getting the question out correctly. Do you understand, Mo, what happened?
I do, and at the end, he kind of explained it. Like at the end, he just lost it. I mean, we gotta fix that.
And nothing she did deserved me to say that to her, and that's why I kept.
Well, I think her nonchalantness bothered him. She was looking for if he wasn't interested, move on. She wanted answers, right? But at the fact that when he did say something and she replied, she was nonchalant. I think he just blew his cool.
I don't see how nonchalant leads to F you and everything you stand for.
Her nonchalant, it was because he had said the word earlier. It wasn't just her being nonchalant, but it was her attitude and her. It was. I don't know if it was.
It was a combination of things. You know what I'm saying? And the woman.
I mean, it's still no excuse.
It's no excuse. It's no excuse. Just like we talk about the table stuff. A woman like that is very, very dangerous. And I'm gonna tell you why it's dangerous. Imagine this woman calling her man and say this man is doing this, blah 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 blah. Like, it's no way. If it's a man like me or Mo, even a man like Maurier, if somebody is messing with his sister or his mom or whatever, and it's not actuality, when we get there, you change a lot in the position, knowing good and well that you didn't have to put them in that position. Because when I said that, best believe I'm figuring it's gonna be a man in her life that's gonna come holler at me. That's what I thought, and I was open to it. You see what I'm saying? Because I already know what comes with it.
Yeah.
So therefore, that's why I don't disrespect people, because I know what that other side look like. Y'all ain't seen what I seen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
you offered Jessica an apology.
Multiple times. I said, hey, I apologize. Nothing you did warrant me to say that. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people's like, well, she deserved it built up. I still don't think men should talk to women like that. And I apologize at the reunion. I apologize to her in her face. If she hear I say it again, because that's not cool. But let's stop pushing men to that limit. You know what I'm saying? Let's stop doing that, because that's not cool. You know?
So there was some.
I mean, she didn't really push you to a limit. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. She didn't push you to your limit. I'll be honest with you. There was nothing pushing the limit. What she did was that all she did was become more nonchalant and maybe threaten not to care. She didn't push you anywhere, bro. You've seen her be rude to other staff members, production, makeup artists, etc., etc. With you in your distinct situation with Jessica, you haven't really mentioned what she did or said. Now, maybe you'll find it hard to find the words to describe what you actually are feeling in that moment, because disrespect is one of those words that is covering a lot of other issues. There's something that she did, but you can't put your finger on it, right? And that doesn't mean that she did anything that deserves what you said, but it means you can't describe. So the word disrespect is a very blank canvas. It's a very broad canvas. A very broad canvas, right? And it can encapsulate body language, facial expression, tone, certain trigger words. It can encompass a whole different things. And if you're not articulated enough and you're not observatory enough, you're not going to be able to explain what you're actually feeling and what's happening in that situation. Again, nothing that she did deserves what she did, right? But let's be honest. I think Mo kind of spoken it correctly. The nonchalantness, the fact that she said, "Are we done yet?" Right? The lack of the dismissiveness. That's it. The dismissiveness of you and the lack of respect that you expected from her to you is what's triggering you, and that is hard to describe because it's a feeling. It doesn't have active participant behaviors unless you're able to break down behaviors. So if I say like, hey, it's a bit like how I felt about Kevin Samuels at first, right? When I first heard Kevin Samuels, I couldn't label what I was hearing. I can tell that there was a misogynistic tone, but I couldn't tell you why I felt the way I did. I hear it, but I can't tell you what it is. Then I had to go and research. And I had to go and then go, okay, I can now put words to what I'm actually hearing as to why I believe that when Kevin Samuels speaks, there's issues there, right? Now, whenever you ask, and this is an example for anybody out here, whenever you ask people why they don't like Kevin Samuels, they run to he's a misogynist. Then you have to ask the question, what did he say that was misogynistic? Most people can't even give an answer. Do you know why? All they can point to is him saying that the woman was a 5 out of 10. But after that, they haven't got anything else to say. Because actually, what you're feeling is this level of disrespect. It requires you to actually study what the person's doing and break down individual behaviors. They are microaggressions. Very much when we try to explain to white people microaggressions, it's very difficult if you don't have the language to explain the microaggressions. Do you understand? So it takes time to study it, break it down, and then hopefully apply a right kind of language to be able to explain what you're feeling. And so I don't feel like Chris has the language to express the microaggressions that you felt that you were getting from her as to what you reacted to. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Right? So in that aspect, I feel like that's probably what was happening here. He's not able to express exactly what's going on. And so you're going to have to describe it to somebody, and you're going to have to really be detailed about what you saw. Absolutely. That's true, Jay. That's true. Because how do I explain microaggression to someone when sometimes all they say is, for instance, oh, you're fast, aren't you? And you just know that the tone that he said it in, what's he trying to say? Like, you just heard a tone. I'm just using that. Fast is not really anything, but like those microaggressions, when someone says something, same way we're also kind of picking up on Chris a little bit and saying some of the rhetoric and some of the phrases that get said. Those things is very hard to kind of pinpoint. You have to be able to pinpoint. You have to layer what you're seeing, and that takes time. A lot of people can't do it because there's several layers to it. They just feel it and they know it, which is what I'm probably saying. But at the same time, like I said, Chris got himself into trouble because he did not also at the same time watch how he moved. He did not at the same time watch how he moved. And now we're going to be calling you scary because you saying Jessica's scary for the way she plays. And I agree. If you tell him, if you really believe that she, throws rocks and hides her hands, then of course it's scary. But then you have to realize you scary. That's a good breakdown. Good points, Jay. Good point.
With some suggestions, and I think Maurier kind of alluded to it, that some of the women just questioned you, and from what I heard, questioned your sexuality.
No, at that point I ain't heard nothing about that. So after later on, then it was like rumors. I'm like, are you like, come on, man, things that don't even pertain. I'll give it energy. Right. Trust me, like that was something like, man, man, I'm keep moving because it's not true. So when you think, if you see a man like me, you got to find a way to try to turn me down because I don't lose in life, and the people around me don't lose in life. Period. So you got to pull from whatever to try to turn a man that's confident in himself. Yeah. And a woman too. If a woman's confident in herself, you can't find no flaws that you see. You got to, he's showing his true self. That's the real Chris. That's this. Well, check my track record. Check the people that surround me that know me. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like check that. You can't. And that's why it don't even matter. That's why I said Chris on thing, whether good, bad, comment, whatever. I was like, hey, bring Maurier on because I'm not fearful of nothing that comes with it. Let's address it. Let's find a common ground. If Maurier tomorrow say, hey, what's up, bro? Get on the phone. I'm gonna answer the phone and talk to him. This ain't no personal thing with none of this. Right. You know what I'm saying? He might feel some type of way about me, but that's a personal problem to him. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel no type of way about you, Maurier, but that's all I can say on my end.
But I can understand why he would feel that way with hearing you say that he was messy. But we're asked Maurier, did he take information back to the ladies? And I would just say, every season this happens. Every season Pillow Talk goes from the lounge to the other place. This season it just got out of control. Yeah, it really is. Tequila asked to be brought on. We're gonna have you on another day. I just think we got a lot going on today, and we don't want to add. I want to let the men get a chance to say what they want to say. But Tequila, I will definitely bring you on. We talked about having you back on before the reunion. I just think today we got Maurier and Chris. That's a lot. We're having a hard time managing it as it is. So Maurier, I do want you to speak to what was going on with you and Tequila, because it's difficult to see the men. We don't see you guys having any issue with each other. We've seen the men going back and forth. But when a man is going back and forth with women, that just feels weird. So where's that coming from?
Chris, I'm so glad you brought up that when a man is going back and forth with a woman, that is weird energy. Or when men are picking on and bullying women, that is weird energy. It's weird. It's very weird. Even lying on them, that's just weird. I will say this: if you think back, and again, I'm allow the people to choose. Think back to the episode, the third episode, whichever episode is the first Men's Lounge. I believe it's the second episode. It's the third. The episode where Chris mentions, hey, I had a conversation with Tequila. She's stating that, something happened with one of the other connections, that they were spending more time working on something else. How it happened with me and Tequila, Tequila contacted Aries. This is what Aries tells me. Okay. Tequila contacted Aries to give for Aries to give her my number. She said, hey, I'm just letting you know, Tequila asked for your number. To my knowledge, I honestly didn't. I thought I got Tequila's number from the Mansion Mixer, but I was like, hey, I thought I got it, but I didn't have it. So I told Aries, I was like, yeah, I'll give it to her. She was like, nah, I don't want to get in between anything. I'm just letting you just put it on your radar. When you see it next time, make sure you get a number. I was like, bad, cool. Producer, I dress and producer. Not gonna say the person's name, I dress and producer. Hits me up and was like, hey, Tequila, ask for your number. Is it cool that I give it to her? I was like, yeah, I just actually it's funny. I was just talking to Aries about it. Yeah, go ahead and give it to her. Go ahead, we chopping it up, we cool. Everything's good. Me and Tequila have a good connection, conversation going on at the mixer. Tequila was like, I want to say like the second person I talked to at the mansion. We both sharing about family members passing away. We had us a little moment, we cried. Obviously, y'all see the moment where she's crying on camera. And I'm like, me and this girl, we was cool. We was chopping it up. I feel like we got something here. Like it might be a little bond or something. So let me go over here and check on her. I even told her, she'll confirm it. I even told the camera, I'm like, yo, give this girl some time. Like, this is a real moment she had. And obviously, it's all first time. Everybody's nervous. Everybody's tensions are high. It's a moment. So I'm sure she's probably dealing with a lot. So, check on her. So we still tight. We get to the brunch. Still cool. Get to the ladies' lounge. First day. I text her that morning. I don't get a response back until like later that evening. Get a long text message like, hey, I think you should be going to go focus on your other connections because obviously you've been spending more time with them. And I'm like, now by this is only like day 3, like day 2 or 3 in real time of like, I'm talking about day 2 or 3 of like, we're knowing each other.
Right.
I'm like, dang, I just got the number, but I don't know nothing about the show. I don't know nothing about the process. I'm just like, I thought the process is to get to know everybody, communicate with everybody as much as possible. That's how I just thought it was going. So I'm like, what's she tripping on? What's the deal? Like, what's the issue? But I'm like, hey, you tell me, go have a good life. Have a good life. Cool. Boom. Leave it at that. I'm just like, okay, well, obviously this is not a connection. She ready for me to go. So we need Tommy, who'd you say who was my bottom? Tequila.
There was a school in there. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. My husband came in and he's trying to come in and hear the story.
Don't worry, Crystal. You turned out too. I almost turned out too. I don't know what he's saying.
So, check on it. So we still tight. We get to the brunch. Still cool. Get to the ladies' lounge. First day. I text her that morning. I don't get a response back until like later that evening. Get a long text message. Like,
so he texted her on the ladies' lounge. Didn't get a response back that evening.
Hey, I think you should be going to go focus on your other connections because obviously you've been spending more time with them. And I'm like, now by this is only like day 3, like day 2 or 3 in real.
I think she said you need to go and focus on your own connections.
Time in real time of like, I'm talking about day 2 or 3 of like we're knowing each other.
Right.
I'm like, dang, I just got the number, but I don't know nothing about the show. I don't know nothing about the process. I'm just like, I thought the process is to get to know everybody, communicate with everybody as much as possible. That's how I just thought it was going. So I'm like, what's she tripping on? What's the deal? Like, what's the issue? But I'm like, hey, you tell me, go have a good life. Have a good life. Cool. Boom. Leave it at that. I'm just like, okay, well, obviously this is not a connection. She ready for me to go. So we need Tommy, who'd you say who was my bottom? Tequila.
There was a school in there. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. My husband came in and he's trying to come in and hear the story because I make him watch the show with me. So he's like, what? I got to put my baby on. This is men and he can give me the man. Come in, baby. Give me the man's perspective here. So Maurier.
Yeah.
I'm suggesting that I'm talking to Maurier, babe. He's in. You got to come into the camera. You coming into the camera. All right, y'all. This is a crazy night. I done brought my honey in and
my man.
What's going on, brother? What's happening?
All right, so this is Chris and this is Maurier.
Yeah.
All right.
What's going on?
When you
I'm listening.
all right, Maurier is telling us about not your husband is cute gift. You don't play with me now. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hey, he don't stir up some stuff.
Wait a minute. All right. So Maurier, so you had no issue with Tequila.
He is a good-looking guy, though.
No, outside of that, I had no problem with him. I had absolutely no problem with him. Like we said, I'm just simply like, hey, you tell me, go have a good life. You're done. I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'm done then. So we just part ways.
And she didn't tell you, don't know where that came from.
Where what came from?
Where her saying you've been spending time with your other connections.
Oh, no, I know exactly where that came from because the conversation me and Jessica had, we had, like second night, we had a 5-hour conversation. And it was like that we had a long conversation, and she's like, well, because that was what was discussed in the women's lounge.
Okay. Chris, can you speak to, do you have any intel on that? Do you have a rebuttal for what Maurier?
I don't. I'll let Tequila speak her piece.
Okay.
She'll be on later, so yeah.
Okay. Maurier, yours, you know what? You're going to have to leave. You causing, if somebody else says, hey, Crystal something again, I'm going to get him off here. Y'all tripping, y'all not being respectful.
You need the moderators in here.
Have any single friends. What? Anyway.
Mo is my single friend.
All right. No, but I guess what I'm trying to figure out, Maurier, is, well, let me ask you this, because with the dates that you had with
listen, I can't do this whole interview. It's too much.
It was completely different, and Chris knows that my
you got a real connection with Jessica.
Real connection with Jessica. You go back, if y'all again, everything I'm talking about is again on camera. Okay. You go back and you can look at the first mansion mix. At the very end of the day, Jessica wearing my jacket. Got business literally of me and Justin in our phone. It was so bad, me and Justin were by ourselves to where 2 production members had to come and get us. We were outside sitting by food for about almost, I would say, about an hour and a half. And that's a long span, which is to be sitting and talking to one individual at a mansion mixer where you're getting pulled every 5 minutes. So you go back and look at the original. It's on camera.
No, so because I was thinking that when I talked to Jessica yesterday, and she talks about the fact that it takes her, she's not really into PDA, and I get that because I was kind of the same way at first, right? I'm just not a person that when I meet somebody, I'm gonna be all over them, right? I'll be all over them later. but you did say that on camera that you felt like she wasn't really opening up. Chris said he didn't have that same experience. So do you feel like you and Jessica have gotten past that? That was really or you feel like she was really into you?
Yes.
Okay.
She into you?
Yes.
Chris, be nice.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Chris knows that to be true. Chris exact words in the men's lounge. See, this is again, Chris ain't telling y'all the full story. Chris also said
he asked me a question
at the house too. He said if I was getting the experience that Maurier was getting, it'd be a different connection between me and her. Did you or did you not say that?
Yeah, that's not a bad thing to say.
Okay. So with this, was she really into you?
So my thing was if you're telling us that you see a softer side, if she'd have showed me that softer side, yes, it would have been different. That's all I asked for.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that like the thing is you would say something and then like, oh, gotcha. It's like saying, oh, Chris like milk with his cereal. See? But it doesn't make any sense. Like you'll find something that's minute and try to make it like, oh, I got you.
No,
that didn't make sense.
Because I'm debunking every one of your lies.
Okay.
By you saying,
it makes sense.
Let me ask you this, Crystal. That's your husband, right?
I'm so confused, bro. I got lost again. You know, I swear I got lost again. What was the question they asked him? I need to go even back. I don't even want to even go back. I don't even want to go back.
I stated that she was combative. Why would I connect with somebody that I believe is combative?
Okay, well, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If let's say me, if I'm in there and I'm saying Jessica had
I'm lying. The difference is was there. Notice everything I heard Chris can't give me no yes or no question because he knows it to be true. He knows it to be true. That's why he's smiling. He knows it to be true.
I'm a non-threatening guy. That's why I smile.
Yeah.
So, but let me ask you this though.
Mm-hmm.
How's your connection with Aries? If you like Jessica so much, why are you constantly trying to connect with Aries till this day?
Because
you know what I'm saying. So stop faking it, bro. It is what it is.
So,
like,
so
this is the thing. You're upset at me. Let me finish. You feel some type of way about me because the girl you want to like likes me. This has happened. Think about it. Because if you seeing Jessica treat me like this, now you mad at me. Like that's lame. Like I don't want her, bro. Like this is what was going on. Like you can't don't play me like that. Because I've seen slips in the grass before because of enviness and jealousy, bro. Like it's not cool.
So he's seen jealousy and envy and decided to say that Maurier was jealous of Chris. I mean, it's plausible. I don't know how. I mean, it's plausible. I don't know if that's actually the reason why. I think maybe Maurier just wants the approval of the women. I think the way to like Maurier is probably going after Chris so much because he wants the approval of the women, the validation. I don't know about jealousy, but yeah, I don't know about the jealousy. I don't know if that's the case, but I definitely could see that it's him trying to be validated by the ladies So yeah, I can see that, but I don't know.
I wash my hands, but you still want to play these little games and stuff and not keeping it real. Once I found out who my connection, I stuck with my connection. That's that.
Okay.
My connection. That's that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm out your way, bro.
See, again, this is why we have to correct lies again. Aries was so much of Chris's connection. She was sitting in Phil's lap in front of him.
I like Phil. I like Phil. That's my dog.
Everybody
connecting.
Everybody, wait.
No connection with no Aries.
Okay, wait. Aries.
So Maurier is saying that Chris never had a connection with Aries. Let me just message Aries right now and just say, Aries, did you have a connection with? Did you have a connection with Chris? Yeah, that's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. You know what I mean? Actually, Maurier just messaged me just now, guys. So we're gonna organize a time for him to be interviewed. I don't want to interview people before the reunion though, because I want people to go to reunion, get out the reunion, and then we have everything done, and then we interview. I don't want to do people that have stayed late. That's the reason why I'm not trying to do certain people before the reunion airs, because like things come up and you got to interview them again. Do you know what I mean? Like, but we'll see what happens anyway. Maybe I'll just do it before. We'll see. But I want to know, did Aries have a connection with Chris? You know what I mean? Was there truly a connection there? That's what we need to know. Was there a true connection there? We need to know. Okay, so we're going to get it together.
Said, keep her out of this. Aries.
Yeah, because I'm saying to every other woman.
Why you bringing me to this?
Because that's what you was going back talking to. You was going back talking to.
Okay.
You was going back talking to. And see, and look, and I found that out to also be true.
I
got the text messages on them too.
What? Maurier, what you saying?
On what?
Got text messages.
On what? What you talking
on that you running back talking?
Now I'm running back and talking to Lee.
That you running back talking to multiple women in the group.
What am I saying? What am I saying, buddy?
Everything that was being said from calling what we were talking about.
Like
Kira calling her a dog, comparing Kira to a dog.
Comparing Kira to a dog.
Yes.
Come on, bro.
And Christopher, so you didn't do that?
All I said, dang, a dog. Like, I made a dog joke, but I wasn't comparing Kira to no dog. That don't even sound right.
All right.
And that's the thing.
I heard it. He just came up and slipped up and said it too. You heard it. He's telling on himself.
It don't even sound right. Come on.
Okay. All right, Maurier. I want this whole night. This is going another way, but the whole night was we're trying to give Chris an opportunity to respond to the fact that he
on social media. Look who's communicating now, who's hanging out, who's taking trips, who's doing all that stuff. That's real life. Like those three women, like I love them. They're good individuals, And what gets me when they talk about as far as controlling or whatever, or women can't do this, they're all CEOs. They're all intelligent. They're all bosses. They're all strong Black women that I appreciate. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they show me so much love. Yeah, in a good way. So that's what we're talking about, baby. Is the fact that a lot of times being a strong Black woman, being someone that's very ambitious in your career can be a turnoff. And so a lot of people watching yesterday were like, Jessica comes across very professional. Maybe it's just he can't handle a strong woman. So Kabish says it's still on interview. And so we just want to make sure that we're clarifying that there's a difference between being a career woman and being someone that a man is feeling is being combative.
I was listening to Mo earlier, and he was turn off and turn off. Water, please. You know what I'm saying? So one thing, like a lot of men, I'm just saying, just in my generation, my age group, a lot of men don't like all that. You know what I'm saying? Like all that being, like you were saying, like being a defense attorney or whatever. You're a defense attorney at work, but you should be a woman at the house. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. There's a big difference. Because like the old saying, "Go, lady in the street."
We're not even talking about.
But I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is, you got to know when to turn off and when you turn it off. That's basically
right.
Yeah. So you understand.
That's some wise words. He said you got to know when to turn it on and turn it off. I actually understand that. Interesting. Like it's now got so convoluted. I don't even know where to even commentate.
So Chris was explaining that the energy that he got from Jessica was he felt like there were some combative times. He didn't necessarily call her combative, but he did feel like there was some combative times. Maurier says he didn't have that experience. I feel like what we were talking about earlier tonight, if you guys were watching, I had Nate on. Jesus God, please go back and watch Nate with Love, because he was saying that different men think different things out of different women. And I know for myself, you make me feel safe to where I feel secure. Now, you may still feel like I'm a defense attorney sometimes, but that's not necessary.
No, it's just the dating scene as a whole has changed since social media has came into effect. You know, just like I tell you all the time, you know, I tell my daughters, all that stuff on social media is fake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's all fake. It's all about everybody's putting up what the glam and this and that or whatever. You can be a boss. You can be a boss all day long. But when you with your man and when you're in a relationship or whatever, you gotta be able to turn that feminine side on. And you know, just like I told you before, just like, you know, we talked about before, there's a difference in being submissive. When a woman is submissive, all you think about, oh, you got barefoot and pregnant cooking a dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm submissive to you sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I think nowadays the whole dating aspect of it all is that everybody wants to be a boss. Everybody wants to be in charge. But everybody has to know their role.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, like most married couples or whatever. You know, we talk about this. You know, men take care of the outside. You know, cutting grass and you know, taking care of the outside needs or whatever.
Taking care of the trash.
You know what I'm saying? Takes care of the inside of the house. You know, cleaning, cooking. You know, certain things. That I say.
Okay, let's speak up.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think that women can't do anything? The company I partner with is the CEO is a woman. You see what I'm saying? So when I say as far as the emotional aspect, men make quicker decisions, you know, most of the time. You know, women typically make the best decisions, but sometimes, you know, because you guys analyze so much, you know, so we can cross on. Like, for example, like your husband was saying, for as you cooking, not saying that he won't ever cook, you know, because you got to communicate, what do you need me to do more and what do you need me to do less or like that. I think people are getting it confused. And when you see an African man, you think, oh, controlling this and that. No, I have my strong cultural and family beliefs and traditions, but I'm still non-traditional in some of my ways of being in Africa. But I'm still an African in America.
That's fair, because Chris, a lot of the social media conversation on you has been, well, he's going to be controlling because he's Nigerian, and that's the culture. What is your response to that?
If you look at those three women, they be controlling me sometimes. I can't control them. I don't even want to control them. Control is not love at all. That's not love. So when people say that, like, no, a weak man wants to control someone. Someone talked about finances. I'm not going to use my finances to control a woman. If a woman, and that's what I said as far as work, I don't care if my woman's a CEO or she weaving baskets, as long as she's passionate. And in turn with that, if you want me to invest in your business, so you won't have to depend solely on me in case something happens to me, I'll do that. And that ain't got nothing to do with me. So that's what people misuse power and they misuse the submission aspect. I love what your husband said when he said that, because I subscribe to that. You know, it's a collective, it's a back and forth. We sometimes gravitate to that. I think, Crystal, we talked about it in the very first interview or whatever, but that's what it's about. Yeah. You know, and that's why when we talk about me being assertive, that's why I said bring Maurier here, because I'm gonna talk to him as a man. Yeah. A woman, I'm not gonna talk to that woman like that at all.
Except for in that situation with Jessica. Maurier, let me ask you, so did you hear what we're talking about? Chris is saying that he did get boss energy that was still soft from the other ladies. Did you get that from Jessica? You said your experience has been different, even though you said initially that there was not PDA, but you did feel comfortable. You feel like Jessica felt safe with you. She did say that she really was attracted to Maurier because of his intellect, and she's a sapiosexual, which I can relate to. So I feel like she did explain how you guys' connection was, and I think that's what we didn't get a chance to see that. So that's why it's a great thing for you guys to come on. So you had a different experience with Jessica than Chris, correct?
Correct. So ask me the question one more time. I was a little distracted by my son. Go ahead. Ask me that one more time.
I'm just asking about, because he said that he was able to get women. These women were bosses and very professional, very much into their career, but they were also still able to give him the nurturing and soft side. Did you get to a point with Jessica where you did get to a soft side and you felt like you guys were truly connected?
Oh yeah. And again, they didn't show like them. For example, at the house at the cash trip, once I cooked pretty much most of the food that was there during the barbecue or whatever.
You're a great cook, Maurier. I love your food, especially those wings. That was amazing.
Appreciate it. I know he's for real. I know he's not playing.
Yeah, I'm not BS.
I'm gonna give you your credit. He is being for real. He is being for real like that. When anytime a chef cooks, we sit down, kind of let everybody else. And I was about to get up and fix my plate. Just was like, "Nah, I got you," because I was outside messing with him when we were cooking. I was like, "So what you gonna bring? Like, what you gonna cook?" I'm already knowing Jessica don't cook, right? That's me just being, being funny, making jokes. She's like, "Well, I make her plate, I'll do that." I was like, "All right, well, we'll see." So that's how that scene ended up happening. She made the plate. what they don't show on camera, when we were after the combative word, after the thing, you know, all big blow up inside the kitchen after I cooked the wings, I basically have a whole breakdown of like, hey, that was not my experience with you. I don't believe that you're combative. I want to apologize. I feel like I messed up in front of everybody. I gotta also apologize in front of everybody. You know, that's just how it goes. You know what I'm saying? You just have to do that whole entire thing. So, you know, again, because my whole thing.
Did she respond to that? Because it seemed like after that happened, you and Jessica kind of like parted ways.
No, she responded to it twice. She was like, I accept your apology. And I was like, hey, well, can we go? When y'all hear me say, well, can we go and talk? That was after I'd already did the apology.
Okay.
I was basically like, hey, now let us go have a sidebar. You know, me and you can really just talk about really your feelings. That was really what the conversation. It's chopped up as if she's just fully upset with me. Because in that same conversation, she says, I know you didn't say it. I'm upset with you, the fact that you stood on the sword. Because for me, when she asked me, she texted me, and my older men was like, and Tommy included, because you're going to probably see it coming up here shortly, where they're like, well, who did say it? I said, you know what? I'm gonna keep it playing. And I said this to Chris too. This was really the tension with me and Chris, because for me, I felt like I showed Chris the utmost respect at the whole time. Because when I knew who said it the whole time and I never said nothing, because I'm thinking out of everybody here, hold on, Chris. Hold on.
Yeah,
I said out of everybody here, as far as degrees of separation, me and Chris probably the closest connected because of alignment of people we know, right? We are probably the closest connected out of the entire class. So I was like, you know what? I'm not no snitch. I ain't finna be, doing this. Y'all don't see me say nobody's name. I get up, I leave. When Chris came up to the room, I said, Chris, you know what? Don't worry about it, bro. I said it. It's my bad. I take it on me. And all the time. When I see Chris in turn, because again, we talking about partner in any other space. If this is my partner's connection, I'm not gonna disrespect my partner's connection because there's my partner. Just on TP of him. I'm going to the same.
You talking about what we at the reunion when you said
about let's don't talk about the reunion. We gotta wait till that. We gotta wait for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my bad. That's my bad.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. Like, I mean, and not to really talk too much about it. The only part about that was when I apologized, and then Maurier kept talking about why I shouldn't have done that, and I'm like, bro, I already apologized. So I felt that he was kind of dragging that along after I've already concluded with a sincere apology or whatever. So yeah, because at that point it's getting redundant. You're not respecting her because I know she didn't want to go on any more dates. I'm assuming, and you're not respecting me. So now you're not respecting me or Jessica.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's where it's like, all right, enough is enough. Like I'm good on this. I know who in the cast I'm gonna connect with, and that's just that. I don't need to show anymore. Well, you need to at least this.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So because I wasn't like, walking around talking about sex and walking around talking about, cussing and doing all of that. So I think I would have like just really enjoyed and had like a lot more fun versus to where, because sometimes I think probably everybody can say this, it started to feel like work almost.
Yeah.
Because you on 2 or 3 different dates a day. You got an interview the next day. You got people asking you questions. So it's like,
I want to keep talking about this woman because I've moved past it. You know what I'm saying? So one thing about my mind, if it's something that doesn't align with me or negative, I have an auto delete. You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying my best.
Yeah, when I heard the "Good Morning Beautiful," that's when I started laughing.
That's why she knows I hate that. But if you text me and said "Good morning, beautiful," and I say continue the process with the connections you have put effort into, you're already love. I wish you well throughout this journey. What would you have said?
Cool.
1 + 1, y'all, equals 2. We're not asking for the dimensions of the moon. We're just asking for we just asking.
I mean, because of the fact of this.
Hey, yo.
I chose not to show her interest. I chose not to show Jessica interest. It's okay. You see what I'm saying? So and both felt kind of rejected because of that. Even though they're saying like, oh, let's move on. They both probably felt like that. And I love Tequila, but that's probably how she felt. You know, and that's how Jessica felt, that I rejected her because I wasn't giving her attention. I'm giving to other girls.
Right. And I mean, on the show, first of all, the girls shouldn't have been. There's no way to make this right. There's no.
I'm gonna fast forward it again.
That's lame. All right, y'all. I'll be back.
Oh, I got you, Mo. Hey, hit me up.
All right, listen, guys. I'm tired, man. There's nothing left on, man. I should have left this about 20 minutes ago because there was nothing going on in the rest of the video. Look, we'll be back later on in the evening time, not now, back in the evening time to just discuss this with the panelists and the guys as well, so they can actually have their say as well. But I think, in all honesty, I think, in all honesty, like, I want to be able to have real conversations with you guys. I think there's some faults on both these sides, both on Chris and Maurier and Jessica. There's some faults everywhere that are going on, and I think hopefully we get the opportunity to interview all of them. I would love to. So I've messaged Jess, I've messaged Lee, I've messaged I haven't messaged Chris, but I spoke to Chris, so we'll all organize that. And I know Aries has already said she'll come on, so that's fair. So we're definitely we're getting more people on here, hopefully, to see. I hope we can get Janelle and Jess. If anybody has Janelle's contact details, like Instagram or email, shout me. I would love to message her and get her as well on board. I love to hear her perspective. You know, I'm gonna keep it real when I interview people. You know, but we don't play. You know, everyone's got to come through the same process. We're gonna get to know you, and then we'll get to know Ready to Love. You know what I mean? So it's a lot right now. It's a lot. Do me a massive favor, guys, as well. Please like the live if you haven't done so already. Like it, share, subscribe. We're trying to get to 100K by the end of the year. Also, as well, you know, I would love for you guys to be a part of the membership as well. It's £1, $1. Join the membership. Click on that, you know, $sign. Join the membership. We have membership lives every other week. As well, okay. We'll have some real good conversations and some fun. But listen, it's been good. It's been cool. It's been fun. And if there's someone you want me to interview, message me and message them. You understand? Let them know that we are the best place to come and get an interview, because we don't play when we do the interviews. You understand? Yeah, we don't. You get me? I appreciate you guys, honestly. All right. Much love. I'll be back a little bit later on. Woo woo.